Have you ever looked at your grocery receipt and felt completely robbed? We are constantly paying premium prices for wilting, flavorless produce that was picked weeks ago and shipped thousands of miles. But what if you could completely sever your reliance on the supermarket? Today, we are not just planting a garden, we are building a high-yield organic mini supermarket right on your patio. We are counting down the top 15 vegetables that produce a massive amount of food in containers, allowing you to reclaim your food independence. Make sure to stick around until the very end, because I will reveal our #1 pick, an unstoppable vertical food factory that provides the absolute highest yield per square foot of any container plant in existence. If you are ready to stop buying your groceries and start growing them, let's dive into the countdown at number 15. We kick off our grocery list at number 15 with radishes. If you are deeply tired of paying for those sad, rubbery bunches of radishes sitting endlessly under the harsh fluorescent lights of the supermarket, it is truly time to grow your own. Homegrown radishes bring a sudden pop of brilliant, ruby red color and a lush, vibrant green canopy that instantly makes your patio look like a thriving, abundant farm rather than a sterile concrete slab. These remarkable little root vegetables are the absolute sprinters of the botanical world, acting as a high-speed biological engine for your mini supermarket. From the exact moment you drop the tiny seeds into the warm soil, it takes an astonishingly brief 25 days to produce a fully mature, perfectly crisp root. This rapid turnaround allows you to aggressively succession plant, sowing new seeds every week to guarantee a continuous, unbroken harvest all season long without any gaps in production. Because radishes possess extremely shallow root systems, the optimal container strategy requires a long, shallow rectangular window box made of durable resin. There's absolutely no need to waste expensive potting soil filling deep pots for a root that only grows 2 inches long. A wide, shallow planter strictly maximizes your horizontal surface area, allowing you to space the seeds perfectly in neat, highly productive rows while maintaining excellent soil drainage to prevent the roots from splitting. Within a month, you will be pulling these crisp, peppery jewels directly from the earth, completely bypassing the grocery store checkout line. Slicing them paper thin over a thick piece of heavily buttered artisan sourdough toast, finished with a pinch of flaky sea salt, provides a gourmet, zero food miles breakfast. It is a deeply satisfying culinary experience that no grocery store produce can ever replicate, proving that the fastest way to fresh food is through your own backyard. Coming in at number 14 are baby carrots. We have all been relentlessly conditioned to buy those perfectly uniform, completely flavorless bags of baby carrots that have been whittled down by industrial machines and washed in chlorine solutions. Growing your own reveals a completely different, highly romantic aesthetic. You cultivate soft, swaying, fern-like green tops that contrast beautifully against the dark, rich soil, quietly hiding deeply vibrant, glowing orange roots just beneath the surface of your container. Carrots are an incredibly efficient use of limited patio space, acting as a powerful biological engine that converts sunlight into dense, highly nutritious starches. As the late summer weather gradually cools into autumn, the plant's biology works incredibly in your favor. The cool soil naturally converts those stored starches into pure, concentrated sugars as a defense mechanism against frost. This makes your homegrown carrots taste like absolute, vibrant candy compared to their bland, watery, store-bought counterparts. To achieve perfectly straight carrots, you absolutely must utilize a deep, 10-gallon fabric grow bag. Carrots absolutely despise hitting the hard, impermeable bottom of a standard plastic or ceramic pot, which inevitably causes them to permanently deform, twist, and fork. The deep, breathable fabric allows the delicate taproot to stretch straight down into uncompacted, fluffy soil, while simultaneously ensuring impeccable drainage, preventing the roots from rotting in stagnant water after a heavy summer rainstorm. The harvest is one of the most nostalgic and deeply poetic rituals of the entire garden season. You will gently brush away the dark soil to reveal flawlessly crisp, sweet roots that are so incredibly tender they require absolutely no peeling. Just a quick rinse under the outdoor spigot, and they are ready to be roasted whole in a cast iron skillet with fresh thyme and local honey for a cozy, rustic, self-sufficient dinner straight from the patio. At number 13, we have the indispensable sweet basil. Buying fresh herbs at the local supermarket is undeniably one of the most frustrating financial traps. You pay a massive premium for a tiny plastic clamshell, only to watch the delicate leaves turn black and slimy in your refrigerator just 2 days later. Cultivating a mature basil plant on your patio provides a lush, highly fragrant architectural masterpiece that completely eliminates this relentless, expensive cycle of food waste. Basil is an incredibly aggressive, heat-loving engine of pure foliage production. By strictly and consistently pinching off the top cluster of leaves, you trigger a powerful biological response that forces the plant to branch outward. Instead of growing into a single, spindly stalk, it transforms into a massive, dense, bushy canopy. This regenerative growth habit means it continuously produces fresh, intensely flavored leaves significantly faster than you or your family can reasonably consume them during the summer. The absolute best container for growing thriving basil is a classic, unglazed, heavy terracotta pot. Basil loves immense warmth, but absolutely hates sitting in soggy, poorly drained, waterlogged soil. The naturally porous, breathable nature of natural clay effortlessly wicks excess moisture away from the root zone. This prevents devastating root rot and naturally creates the perfectly warm, slightly dry microclimate that this classic Mediterranean herb craves to produce its highest concentration of essential aromatic oils. Having this vibrant plant situated just steps away from your kitchen grants you the ultimate sense of culinary freedom. You will find yourself stepping outside on a warm, golden evening, mindfully snipping large handfuls of intensely aromatic leaves and bringing them straight to the cutting board. Blending them with pine nuts, garlic, and rich olive oil into an emerald green pesto provides a luxurious, zero food miles meal that captures the absolute essence of a slow, abundant summer life. Number 12 is the highly versatile green onion. This is the quintessential everyday culinary staple that you constantly find yourself rushing back to the grocery store to buy, almost always wrapped tightly in unnecessary, wasteful plastic. Growing them at home creates a sharp, brilliant green vertical contrast to the soft, heavily spreading leaves of your other crops. They effortlessly add a touch of clean, modern, structural geometry to your patio space while saving you money every single week. They are rugged, highly resilient, and arguably the most productive cut-and-come-again crop in existence. Their unique biology allows them to safely store immense amounts of energy in their shallow white bulb base beneath the soil. When you sharply snip the green tops for a meal, the plant does not die. Instead, it immediately goes to work, aggressively pushing out fresh, vibrant new green growth in a matter of days, providing a truly perpetual, unstoppable harvest cycle. Because of their surprisingly shallow, tightly clustered root systems, green onions thrive beautifully in long, narrow composite or resin planters. You can pack dozens of these slender plants tightly together without causing any detrimental competition for nutrients. The sleek, elongated lines of a modern rectangular planter perfectly complement their straight, upright architectural form, allowing you to create a highly productive wall of green that takes up almost zero horizontal space on your crowded deck railing. This container quickly becomes your dedicated, perpetual garnish station. Whenever you are slowly simmering a warm, comforting bowl of soup, baking a loaded potato, or simply preparing a quick weekend breakfast, a 10-second trip to the patio with a pair of scissors provides a bright burst of fresh, sharp flavor. You completely eliminate the need to ever buy them again, firmly establishing a small but significant piece of financial independence right outside your kitchen door. Coming in at number 11 are gorgeous garlic chives. If you truly want to elevate your home cooking with premium ingredients, this herb is an absolute must-have that is surprisingly difficult and expensive to find fresh in standard grocery stores. They grow in a dense, grassy, dark green clump that adds incredible texture to your garden. By late summer, they produce stunning, star-shaped white flowers that look breathtaking swaying in the breeze, attracting beneficial pollinators to your patio. This remarkable plant is a hardy, relentless perennial food engine. It focuses the vast majority of its early energy into developing a massive, incredibly resilient underground root structure. This specific biological adaptation means it will happily survive harsh, freezing winter temperatures under a blanket of snow. Once spring arrives, it aggressively pushes up completely new, densely packed, flavor-filled shoots year after year with absolutely zero effort, planting, or ongoing maintenance required on your part. A wide, relatively shallow, beautifully glazed ceramic bowl is the absolute perfect home for a thriving clump of garlic chives. The heavy ceramic material holds moisture exceptionally well, which these shallow-rooted plants highly prefer. Meanwhile, the wide circular opening allows the central clump to naturally expand, divide, and multiply its yield over the years. Visually, the beautiful, reflective glaze of the ceramic pot perfectly offsets the delicate, matte, grassy texture of the towering herb. You will very quickly find this to be the most heavily utilized versatile ingredient in your entire mini supermarket. The flat, tender green leaves carry a profound, savory, deeply aromatic garlic flavor that instantly enhances everything you cook. From elevating a simple, quiet morning omelet to bringing authentic depth to a complex, slow-cooked evening stir-fry, these chives provide restaurant-quality flavor, harvested at their absolute peak freshness without ever forcing you to leave the comfort of your home. From the rapid-fire harvests of radishes to the perennial power of garlic chives, we have established the essential flavors of your patio grocery store. But as we break into our top 10, we are shifting our focus to the foundational staples, the nutrient-dense leafy greens that form the base of your daily meals. Before we look at an incredibly crisp, cool-weather superfood, I would love to hear from you. How much are you currently spending on fresh produce every week? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you are ready to take control of your food supply, make sure to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Now, let's stock the produce aisle, starting at number 10. We proudly feature spinach. We have all experienced the deep frustration and guilt of throwing away half a plastic tub of incredibly expensive, slimy organic spinach that spoiled too quickly. Growing it yourself offers a quiet, deeply grounding aesthetic. You cultivate a single, beautiful pot overflowing with rich, dark green, glossy, spade-shaped leaves that brings a profound feeling of deep, organic nourishment and vibrant life to your relaxing outdoor living space. Spinach is a highly efficient, fast-growing, cool-weather crop that despises the extreme heat of midsummer. By strategically growing it in the brisk temperatures of early spring or late fall, the plant happily channels its energy into producing dense, highly vitamin-rich leaves rather than bolting to flower. Utilizing the continuous cut-and-come-again harvesting method signals the plant's biology to endlessly push rapid, fresh new growth directly from its central crown, multiplying your overall yield dramatically. A wide, shallow window box made of durable composite material or dark resin is the absolute ideal choice here. Spinach roots do not dive particularly deep into the earth, but they passionately love to spread horizontally across the surface, The composite material retains the cool, consistent moisture that spinach desperately loves, while the long, elongated shape gives you ample, highly efficient surface area to meticulously harvest row after row of tender leaves without wasting deep soil. As the beautiful leaves fully mature in the crisp, cool autumn air, they become incredibly tender and are densely packed with vital iron and essential nutrients. You will find immense joy in harvesting handful by handful of these sweet, delicate leaves for your slow, highly mindful mornings. Blending them into fresh, vibrant green smoothies or tossing them into a warm, deeply comforting harvest salad right on your patio completely redefines the concept of farm-to-table dining. Number 9 on our list is the spectacular Swiss chard. If you strongly desire to replace expensive grocery store cooking greens while simultaneously cultivating a breathtaking masterpiece of natural art, this is undeniably your plant. The massive, glossy green, deeply veined leaves are gracefully supported by stunning, stained glass stems in brilliant shades of fiery crimson, bright gold, neon pink, and deep magenta that physically light up your entire backyard when the afternoon sun hits them. Swiss chard is a true, undisputed biological powerhouse in the container garden. It is remarkably heat-tolerant compared to delicate spinach, yet incredibly cold-hardy when autumn frosts arrive. This unique resilience means a single, well-timed planting acts as a relentless, unstoppable food machine. It provides continuous, heavy, highly nutritious harvests for over 8 full months of the year without ever needing to be replanted, offering an absolutely staggering return on your initial seed investment. A large, heavy, beautifully glazed ceramic pot is highly recommended for supporting this massive plant. The thick walls of the heavy ceramic provide excellent thermal mass, acting as an insulating blanket that keeps the delicate root zone completely stable during wild, unpredictable temperature swings. Visually, choosing a deep cobalt blue or a rustic earthy green glaze provides a breathtaking, highly contrasting backdrop that forces those neon, jewel-toned chard stems to pop with undeniable, electric visual intensity. Within a few short weeks, you will be walking out to your sunlit porch to gently clip these vibrant, incredibly crisp stalks. They bring an unbelievable burst of brilliant color and a mild, deeply sweet or earthy crunch to your cozy family dinners. They perfectly and completely replace the need for expensive, store-bought leafy greens in your rustic autumn soups, hearty stews, and warm sautés, saving you money while dramatically elevating the visual appeal of your food. Coming in at number 8 is the highly celebrated superfood kale. Consistently purchasing high-quality, organic kale at the supermarket represents a heavy, ongoing financial burden. However, growing it yourself instantly transforms your modest patio into a high-end, premium organic market. Its deeply blistered, highly textured, architectural blue-green leaves stand exceptionally tall and majestic, bringing a statuesque, almost prehistoric, deeply captivating beauty to the structural foundation of your entire container garden aesthetic. Kale is virtually indestructible and biologically designed to survive extreme adversity. Its remarkable biology allows it to aggressively thrive in the blistering summer heat and actively sweeten when brutally hit by freezing winter snow. It focuses all its immense energy into massive, continuous leaf production. This allows you to mindfully harvest the lower, mature leaves week after week, while the central crown keeps reaching tirelessly for the sky, generating a seemingly impossible volume of food. Because it is a notoriously heavy feeder that eventually grows into a massive, top-heavy plant, it absolutely demands a large 10 to 15 gallon heavy-duty fabric grow bag. The incredibly breathable fabric naturally air prunes the extensive, aggressive root system. This prevents the roots from hopelessly circling and choking the plant, ensuring the towering kale has the massive, healthy, fibrous root system it desperately needs to securely anchor and nutritionally support its towering, heavy green canopy. This is a profound agricultural investment that pays you daily, highly nutritious dividends. You will routinely practice the slow-living, mindful ritual of carefully breaking off the largest, darkest leaves one by one all season long. These hardy, deeply flavorful leaves are absolutely perfect for gently massaging into fresh, vibrant, nutrient-dense salads or slowly baking into crispy, guilt-free kale chips in your warm oven, providing ultimate organic luxury for mere pennies. At number 7, we have highly productive bush cucumbers. Standard store-bought cucumbers are typically heavily coated in an unnatural, shiny, edible wax just to survive grueling cross-country shipping routes, heavily masking a bland, severely watery flavor. Growing a compact bush variety directly on your patio offers a vibrant, lush, sprawling canopy of oversized green leaves, beautifully dotted with bright, cheerful yellow flowers, and hanging, incredibly crisp, bright green fruit that looks genuinely spectacular. Unlike traditional, aggressive vining cucumbers that require massive, highly complicated, and space-consuming wooden trellises, bush varieties are specifically genetically bred to be compact, high-yield food engines. They completely bypass the need for excessive vine growth, pouring all their biological energy directly into developing dozens of crunchy, heavy fruits on very short, dense branches. This efficiently turns a remarkably small patio footprint into a highly concentrated, incredibly lucrative point of organic food production. A heavy-duty 5-gallon thick plastic resin pot, smartly equipped with a small, highly supportive circular metal tomato cage, is the absolute perfect environment. The heavy plastic resin effectively holds the deep, consistent moisture that cucumbers desperately need to remain crisp and prevent bitter flavors from developing. Meanwhile, the small metal cage gently supports the branches, keeping the heavy developing fruit cleanly elevated off the damp soil, preventing rot and maximizing crucial airflow. The ultimate reward is unmatched, explosive crunch, and profound, refreshing hydration. You will happily pluck perfectly ripe, beautifully sun-warmed cucumbers straight from the thick stem. Because they are homegrown, there is absolutely no waxy, bitter skin to painstakingly peel away. You simply slice them directly into your vibrant summer salads, or drop thick slices into a cold pitcher of ice water for the ultimate, profoundly refreshing afternoon drink on a sweltering summer day. Number 6 is the deeply luxurious, visually striking eggplant. Perfect, unblemished organic eggplants are incredibly expensive and highly prone to devastating bruising on crowded grocery store shelves. When grown in a sunny container, they are arguably the most beautiful vegetable in the entire garden. They boast soft, velvety, purple-tinged leaves and bear incredibly sleek, glossy, jewel-like dark purple fruits that look exactly like high-end, meticulously polished ornaments hanging gracefully from sturdy, dark stems. Eggplants are biological heat seekers of the highest order. They require immense, relentless warmth to properly fuel the aggressive production of their dense, incredibly heavy fruits. When their intense thermal needs are finally met, they act as highly efficient producers. They offer a rich, profoundly meaty texture that naturally serves as a fantastic, deeply satisfying, and highly filling substitute for expensive meats in a vegetarian, entirely self-sufficient, slow-living culinary kitchen. They absolutely thrive best in a large, heavy, unglazed terracotta pot or a remarkably thick-walled, dark resin tub placed deliberately in the absolute hottest, sunniest corner of your patio. The thick, dense walls aggressively absorb the intense, unforgiving daytime sun. They then slowly and steadily radiate that essential, deeply trapped heat directly into the root zone throughout the cool night, perfectly replicating their native, sweltering tropical environment to maximize explosive fruit development. Harvesting a flawless, heavy, incredibly glossy eggplant from your own quiet patio is a moment of pure, unadulterated culinary triumph. Slicing through the dense, sponge-like flesh to slowly create a rich, bubbling, heavily sauced, slow-baked eggplant parmesan provides a deeply comforting, high-end, restaurant-quality meal. Knowing this entire masterpiece was sourced entirely from a single pot in your peaceful backyard completely redefines the concept of luxury dining and absolute food independence. We have just explored some of the most beautiful and rewarding crops you can grow. But as we officially cross into our top 5, the stakes get much higher. We are leaving the standard vegetables behind and entering the elite class of container gardening. These final 5 plants are the undisputed heavyweights of the backyard supermarket. We are talking about relentless, high-speed food machines that will literally replace your weekly grocery hauls. If you thought a container garden couldn't reliably feed a family, prepare to have your mind completely changed. Let's enter the top 5, starting with an absolute summer staple. Breaking into our prestigious top 5, we have vibrant bell peppers. Buying perfectly ripe, wildly colorful organic bell peppers constantly feels like a massive luxury purchase, often costing several dollars for a single pepper. Growing them yourself is an absolute visual delight. The plant rapidly becomes a sturdy, vibrant green, miniature tree heavily laden with bright, shiny, blocky fruits that slowly, miraculously transition from deep green to brilliant, glowing shades of red, yellow, or bright orange. The ultimate biological secret to the bell pepper's massive productivity is immense patience paired with unrelenting heat. The plant cautiously first builds a strong, woody framework before aggressively pouring all its stored energy into swelling the fruit. As the peppers sit patiently on the vine and change color, their biological makeup drastically shifts, dramatically increasing their vitamin C content and replacing any harsh, bitter compounds with pure, incredibly complex, mouth-watering sweetness. A standard, incredibly basic 5-gallon black plastic nursery pot is actually an incredible, highly functional, expert choice here. The dark black plastic actively acts as a powerful, relentless thermal battery. It aggressively absorbs the intense summer sun to keep the trapped soil incredibly warm. This intense, constant root heat is the precise, absolutely vital biological trigger the plant desperately needs to successfully push the heavy peppers to fully ripen and completely change color. You will completely and permanently stop buying overpriced, heavily traveled peppers. Walking out to your quiet deck to forcefully snap a heavy, perfectly ripe, beautifully sun-warmed red pepper off the thick stem is a deeply satisfying, grounding ritual. They are incredibly crisp, actively dripping with sweet, flavorful juice, and are instantly ready to be deeply roasted over an open, roaring flame to heavily elevate your summer fajitas and vibrant weekend barbecues, proving that the absolute best ingredients are grown, not bought. At number 4 are the incredibly prolific bush beans. If your only culinary experience with green beans is the soggy, heavily muted, painfully dull versions found in aluminum grocery store cans, you are missing out on a revelation. A container of bush beans rapidly creates a lush, highly textured, beautifully rounded canopy of soft green leaves. This canopy is soon dotted with delicate, intricate white and purple blossoms that quickly transform into hundreds of slender, brilliantly crisp green pods. Bush beans are truly the ultimate, highly advanced, self-sustaining food machine. Through a brilliant, incredibly complex symbiotic relationship with natural soil bacteria, they actually possess the ability to pull essential nitrogen directly from the surrounding air, literally manufacturing their own high-quality fertilizer. They grow with shocking, explosive speed, offering a massive, highly concentrated harvest that completely and utterly overwhelms the container in just under 60 days. Providing a massive return on investment. A wide, elongated rectangular plastic trough or a beautifully rustic, large, shallow wooden half-barrel is the absolute ideal strategy. Beans have relatively shallow root systems, but desperately need ample horizontal space to freely spread their dense, bushy canopy. This wide, highly open container style deliberately allows you to plant them very densely, creating a thick, highly productive microclimate that heavily shades the soil, conserves precious water, and dramatically multiplies your final harvest yield. The ultimate harvest is incredibly abundant and deeply, profoundly rewarding. You will happily find yourself sitting peacefully on your porch, gently parting the soft leaves to uncover massive, heavy clusters of incredibly crisp, snapping fresh beans. Sautéed very lightly in a hot pan with a touch of crushed garlic and a heavy squeeze of fresh lemon, they offer a bright, explosive, snapping texture that completely and permanently redefines what a fresh green bean should actually taste like. Coming in at number 3 are the indispensable, heavily sustaining potatoes. Buying heavy, dirt-covered, plastic-wrapped bags of expensive potatoes that often prematurely rot in the dark corners of your pantry is a frustrating chore. Growing them at home is an absolute, deeply fulfilling revelation. Above ground, they rapidly produce a sprawling, beautiful, deep green bush adorned with delicate flowers, completely and masterfully hiding the massive, starchy, highly valuable treasure swelling silently just beneath the rich soil. Potatoes are incredibly efficient, profoundly powerful calorie generators for the self-sufficient home. A single, humble seed potato brilliantly utilizes the dark, loose, highly organic environment of a deep container to endlessly push out underground stems, biologically known as stolons. This results in a massive, aggressive multiplication of tubers. They actively provide dense, highly filling, and incredibly nutritious sustenance, definitively making them the ultimate, unshakable pillar of a reliable, self-sufficient grocery-replacing container garden. You absolutely and unconditionally must use a highly breathable, deep, 15-gallon fabric grow bag for this specific crop. Hard plastic pots will inevitably trap water and completely rot the tubers, but the thick, porous fabric ensures perfect, life-saving airflow and flawless drainage. More importantly, when it is finally time to harvest, the flexible, lightweight bag allows you to simply tip it completely over, completely eliminating the painful, back-breaking labor of digging blindly with a heavy steel shovel. The highly anticipated harvest day is pure, undeniable agricultural magic. It genuinely feels like unearthing hidden, priceless gold. You will excitedly spill the dark, rich soil onto a wide tarp, running your bare hands through the cool earth to excitedly reveal dozens of perfectly smooth, flawless, organic potatoes. Roasting these freshly dug, homegrown beauties yields a profoundly creamy, buttery interior and an impossibly crispy skin that dull, store-bought potatoes can absolutely never, ever hope to achieve. At number 2, we proudly present the legendary, fiercely productive zucchini. If you truly want to see a massive, undeniable return on your financial and physical investment, this is the undisputed king of the patio. It is a visually imposing, highly dramatic plant, prominently featuring massive, prehistoric-looking, deeply lobed leaves and stunning, giant, fully edible golden blossoms. It brings a wildly abundant, beautifully untamed, and deeply lush aesthetic to your otherwise structured outdoor living space. Zucchini is a relentless, high-speed, utterly unstoppable biological engine. Once it successfully begins producing fruit, it aggressively pulls massive, staggering amounts of water and soil nutrients to visibly swell its heavy fruits overnight. A single, highly healthy, well-fed container plant can easily and consistently produce enough dense food to comfortably feed your entire family and still gracefully leave you with a massive, overflowing surplus to generously give away to your amazed friends and neighbors. Because of its massive, unrelenting water and nutrient requirements, a truly massive, oversized container is absolutely mandatory. A 20-gallon heavy resin tub or a thick, heavily insulated wooden half-barrel provides the sheer necessary volume of rich, moisture-retaining compost required to adequately fuel this hungry beast. The heavy, wide container firmly anchors the massive, sail-like canopy against violent summer thunderstorms, while simultaneously holding enough deep water to keep the sprawling plant from severely wilting in the afternoon heat. This incredible plant is the ultimate unrivaled grocery store replacement. You will find yourself excitedly harvesting heavy, absolutely flawless, beautifully glossy green squash every few days. From aggressively grilling thick, heavily charred slices at a vibrant weekend patio barbecue to peacefully baking warm, deeply spiced zucchini bread on a quiet Sunday morning, this single powerful plant effortlessly provides endless, high-quality, profoundly delicious meals sourced straight from your own highly productive backyard supermarket. Securing the absolute, undisputed #1 spot on our mini supermarket list is the incredible, indeterminate cherry tomato. There is genuinely nothing quite as visually stunning or deeply satisfying as a towering, aggressively vining tomato plant heavily laden with massive, cascading trusses of brilliant red, orange, and bright yellow jewels. It perfectly fills the warm, heavy summer air with that highly unmistakable, deeply earthy, profoundly nostalgic tomato vine fragrance that instantly transports you to a simpler time. The crucial botanical term, indeterminate, simply means this aggressive plant has absolutely no biological stop button. It is a continuous, unstoppable, upward vining food factory. It will relentlessly grow taller, continuously produce fresh new blossoms, and aggressively ripen hundreds of intensely sweet fruits every single day. From the very early days of summer until the very first hard, killing frost of brutal winter, it offers the highest absolute yield per square foot of any container plant in existence. To properly and safely support this massive, endless vertical growth, a wide 15-gallon fabric grow bag, expertly paired with a heavy-duty, exceptionally tall metal trellis, is the absolute ultimate setup. The highly breathable fabric bag guarantees the massive root system will continuously air prune, creating thousands of fibrous roots highly capable of rapidly absorbing heavy nutrients. The remarkably sturdy metal trellis expertly manages the wild, towering vines, efficiently turning a chaotic plant into a highly organized wall of fruit. This magnificent plant alone will completely and permanently sever your heavy reliance on the overpriced grocery store produce aisle. You will absolutely never again pay $5 heavily taxed dollars for a sad plastic pint of flavorless, mealy tomatoes. Instead, you will peacefully walk out to your quiet patio every single evening, joyfully plucking beautifully sun-warmed, bursting with juice cherry tomatoes right off the heavy vine, eating them like candy in the ultimate, triumphant expression of the abundant, self-sufficient life. That wraps up our list of the 15 highly productive vegetables that will transform your patio into a thriving, organic grocery store. Which of these heavy yielders are you planting in your backyard supermarket first? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening topics you want me to cover next. But let's be completely honest for a moment. Having a backyard grocery store sounds amazing, but what if you have a long history of accidentally killing your plants? What if you get busy with work, forget to water, or simply feel like you don't have a green thumb? Please don't let past failures stop you from growing your own food, because our container gardening masterclass is far from over. Right now, we are shifting our focus from sheer volume to pure survival. We are diving straight into the next 15 vegetables that are almost impossible to kill in containers. These are the foolproof, indestructible champions that will practically grow themselves and forgive all of your gardening mistakes. Let's get started. Kicking off our countdown at number 15 is a leafy green that puts every other standard salad crop to shame when it comes to sheer survival. Endive. If you have ever tried to grow standard iceberg or romaine lettuce in a plastic container, you know how incredibly dramatic they can be. The moment the summer sun gets a little too intense, they bolt, turn intensely bitter, and die. If you forget to water them for 48 hours, they collapse into a sad, deflated heap. Endive is built differently. According to the horticultural experts at Cornell University, endive is uniquely bred to resist bolting and withstand intense environmental stress. Its thick, slightly curly leaves are naturally designed with a tough cellular structure that holds onto moisture far better than standard lettuce. That means when you inevitably forget to water your containers over a busy weekend, endive doesn't panic. It holds its ground. To set this plant up for success, your container specifications are incredibly low maintenance. A shallow rectangular planter or individual pots just 6 to 8 inches deep provide more than enough room for its compact root system. When it comes to the planting season, endive shines as a dual-season crop. You want to plant it in early spring for a continuous cut-and-come-again harvest before the intense summer heat, or sow seeds in late summer so it can mature during the crisp autumn days. While other greens demand perfectly mild weather, endive laughs at extreme temperature swings, handling unexpected frost snaps that would freeze standard lettuce solid. Furthermore, that signature slightly bitter complex flavor profile that high-end chefs love isn't just for culinary show. Botanists note that this natural bitterness acts as an organic chemical defense mechanism. Slugs, snails, and common garden bugs take one bite, hate the bitter taste, and immediately go look for something sweeter. For beginners who want a guaranteed salad harvest on a small balcony, endive is the ultimate confidence builder. Moving down to number 14, we have a gourmet culinary herb where your absolute best chance of keeping it alive is to completely ignore it. Oregano. When new gardeners buy fresh herbs, they tend to kill them with kindness. They put them in rich, water-retaining potting soil, douse them with water every single day, and pump them full of synthetic chemical fertilizers. Within a few weeks, the oregano rots from the roots up and dies. Why? Because oregano is a Mediterranean survivor. In the wild, it grows out of the cracks of dry, desolate, rocky limestone mountainsides under a baking sun. It is genetically programmed to thrive in harsh, nutrient-poor conditions. When you put oregano in a container, you are already giving it a luxury suite. For your container setup, the specific choice of pot is the real secret weapon. You want to avoid plastic entirely and plant oregano in an 8 to 10 inch unglazed terracotta clay pot. Terracotta is porous, meaning it naturally wicks excess water away from the roots, preventing the dreaded root rot. For the planting season, get it established in the mid-spring after the last frost. It will spend the entire summer soaking up the blistering heat, turning sunlight into pure aroma. Oregano develops a dense, aggressive root system that makes it spectacularly drought-tolerant. If you forget to water it for a week and the potting mix turns into dry dust, the plant won't suffer. In fact, according to the Utah State University Extension, withholding water and allowing the soil to dry out actually forces the plant to concentrate its essential oils. This natural stress response is exactly what makes the leaves smell and taste dramatically stronger. It demands almost zero fertilizer, never needs pruning unless you are harvesting it for dinner, and pests want absolutely nothing to do with its highly aromatic leaves. Step back, put down the watering can, and let it thrive on neglect. Sitting at number 13 is a crop that uses biological warfare to guarantee its own survival in a container environment. Mustard greens. If you have ever tried growing standard greens in pots, you have likely experienced the absolute heartbreak of aphids, beetles, and spider mites. You check your plants one morning, and the leaves look like Swiss cheese, completely devoured by pests. Mustard greens experience almost none of that. That intense, spicy, horseradish-like kick that opens up your sinuses is actually a heavy concentration of chemical compounds called glucosinolates. According to research published by the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources, these compounds act as a natural, highly toxic insect repellent. To humans, it's a delicious, zesty flavor. To pests, it is a chemical warning sign. They take one bite and immediately stay away. But mustard greens don't just rely on defense, they rely on overwhelming speed. They grow so aggressively fast that they simply outpace almost any environmental problem or minor pest damage. For your container specifications, you don't need a massive, heavy pot. A standard circular pot or a window box planter that is 8 inches deep is absolutely perfect. In terms of planting season, mustard greens are classic cool weather warriors. Sow the seeds in the early spring or early fall. If a sudden frost hits your balcony, the leaves might droop slightly, but they recover instantly when the sun comes up. If a heat wave damages the outer leaves, you simply take a pair of shears, cut the damaged foliage away, and within 48 hours, the plant rapidly pushes out a flush of brand new, healthy green leaves from the center. This cut-and-come-again resilience makes it practically immortal during its growing season. They are loud, fast, and violently opposed to dying. For number 12, get ready for a crop that looks like an alien spacecraft but grows with the physical durability of a military battle tank. Kohlrabi. Growing traditional root vegetables like carrots, beets, or turnips in containers can be incredibly frustrating for beginners. If the potting soil gets slightly too compacted, the roots become stunted and deformed. If your watering schedule is inconsistent, the bulbs will violently split and crack wide open underground, where you can't even see the damage happening until it's too late. Kohlrabi sidesteps every single one of these underground problems through a brilliant evolutionary trick. As noted by the Texas A&M AgriLife extension, the edible bulb of the kohlrabi is not a root at all. It is a swollen, globe-like stem that develops entirely above the soil line. Because it expands in the open air, it doesn't care if your container soil is a little too heavy, clay-heavy, or shallow. It never has to fight against rocks or hard dirt to expand. For your container specs, you want to provide a sturdy pot that is 10 to 12 inches deep and wide for each individual plant. This ensures the container won't tip over as the top-heavy alien bulb grows larger. For the planting season, kohlrabi can be grown in spring, but it truly excels when planted in late summer. This timing allows the bulb to swell and mature during the cool autumn months, which dramatically concentrates its sugars. Furthermore, that swollen stem is protected by a thick, fibrous, armor-like skin that makes it virtually immune to the soil-borne pests and worms that destroy softer root crops. When you harvest it, you get a vegetable that has the crisp, satisfying crunch of an apple and the mild, sweet flavor of a broccoli stem. It is the ultimate low-maintenance crop for container gardeners who want a dense, filling harvest without any of the underground guesswork or disappointment. Just outside our top 10, at number 11, is a crop that literally laughs at freezing temperatures and winter blizzards: leeks. When late autumn arrives and the first hard frost hits your patio, most container gardens instantly turn into a slimy graveyard. Your tomatoes turn black, your peppers collapse, and your basil turns to brown mush overnight. But the leek simply pauses, stands tall, and waits out the storm. Leeks are phenomenally tough, winter-hardy giants. According to data from the Michigan State University Extension, the secret to their survival lies in their foliage, which is heavily coated in a dense, cuticular wax. This thick, natural waxy layer functions as a supreme moisture barrier and frost protectant. This means leeks are incredibly forgiving of irregular watering. If you completely forget about the container for a week, or if the soil stays saturated from heavy rain, the waxy leaves prevent cellular collapse and rot. To grow these successfully, your container specifications require depth rather than width. You need a deep pot or a heavy grow bag that is at least 12 to 14 inches deep. This depth is critical because it allows you to bury the lower stems, blanching them into those tender white stalks that are so highly prized in gourmet cooking. In terms of the planting season, leeks require patience but almost zero effort. You plant them in the early spring, completely ignore them through the hot summer months while they quietly build their leaf layers, and then harvest them exactly when you need them in the dead of winter. Once a leek reaches maturity, it can sit in frozen container soil for months without rotting, losing its flavor, or getting woody. It functions as a permanent, living pantry right outside your door when nothing else in the world is growing. We've just gone through the first 5 survivors on our list. Personally, I've always been amazed by how foolproof leeks are during the freezing winter months. It's definitely one of my absolute favorites because it completely removes the stress of cold weather. But what about you? Looking at these first 5 plants, endive, oregano, mustard greens, kohlrabi, and leeks, which one surprised you the most with its survival strategy? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments right now. I read every single one. As tough as those first 5 were, we are about to break into the top 10, where these botanical survival mechanisms get truly bizarre. If you think a frost-proof plant is impressive, wait until you see the scientifically unkillable desert weed sitting at number 10. Let's dive in. Breaking into our top 10 is a plant that most traditional homeowners actively spend hundreds of dollars trying to chemically destroy, completely unaware that they are fighting a scientifically unkillable superfood: purslane. Most gardeners spend hours on their hands and knees pulling purslane out of their garden beds, cursing it as an aggressive weed. But smart container gardeners grow it on purpose, treating it like a prized possession. Why? Because purslane possesses an evolutionary biological superpower. According to peer-reviewed botanical data published by the National Institutes of Health, purslane uses a highly specialized metabolic survival system called CAM photosynthesis, or crassulacean acid metabolism. This is the exact same survival mechanism utilized by desert cacti. When the midsummer heat becomes brutal and temperatures soar, standard vegetables open their pores to breathe, which rapidly evaporates their internal water and causes them to wilt. Purslane does the opposite. It locks its pores completely shut during the baking day to trap every single drop of moisture inside its thick, rubbery leaves. It only opens them at night when the air is cool and humid to exchange gases. You literally cannot dehydrate this plant by accident. For your container specifications, purslane has a low-growing, creeping, mat-forming habit. This means it doesn't need deep soil at all. A wide, shallow bowl-style planter or a window box just 6 inches deep is absolutely perfect. In terms of the planting season, this is a pure heat worshiper. Sow seeds or plant cuttings in the late spring or right as the scorching summer begins. The real shock comes when you harvest it for dinner. Laboratory testing by the USDA confirms that this weed contains higher levels of heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids than any other cultivated leafy green plant on Earth. It demands absolutely zero fertilizer, loves poor-quality dirt, shades its own container soil to prevent evaporation, and provides a crisp, succulent, lemony, salty crunch that elevates summer salads. If you have a baking hot, windy balcony where every other plant dries to a crisp, put a pot of purslane out there. It thrives on the heat waves that murder normal gardens. Down at number 9, we have the ultimate plant it once and eat it for the rest of your life. Perennial warrior, sorrel. One of the biggest financial and emotional frustrations for beginner gardeners is the annual death cycle of the vegetable patch. You spend money on seeds, nurture them through spring, harvest for a few fleeting weeks in summer, and then winter comes and wipes them out. You are forced to buy everything and start all over again next spring. Sorrel completely shatters that exhausting cycle. This sharp, tangy green is a hardy perennial, meaning its default biological programming is immortality. When the harsh winter freeze arrives and your container soil turns into a block of ice, the above-ground leaves of the sorrel will turn brown and rot away. A beginner would throw the pot in the trash, assuming it's dead. But hidden underground is a massive, incredibly deep, woody taproot system storing immense amounts of pure carbohydrate energy. The moment the soil thaws even a single fraction of a degree in the early spring, this root explosions with fresh, vibrant, bright green growth weeks before most gardeners have even started buying their spring seeds. To give this powerful root system the room it needs to survive, your container specifications require a heavy, deep pot or a large grow bag that is at least 12 to 14 inches deep. For the planting season, get it in the ground or pot during the early spring. Once it's established, you never have to replant it again. But its resilience isn't just about cold tolerance, it's also about chemical defense. According to the Penn State University Extension, sorrel leaves naturally produce high concentrations of an organic compound called oxalic acid. While this acid gives the leaves a spectacular, bright, gourmet citrus flavor that professional chefs love for fish dishes and French soups, it serves a secondary purpose. It acts as a highly effective, natural insect repellent. Most common garden pests take one single bite of that sharp, sour acid, experience intense irritation, and immediately leave your container alone. It ignores bugs, survives Arctic winters, and returns faithfully year after year. Claiming the number 8 spot is an aggressive, indestructible multiplier that flat out refuses to stay put: garlic chives. If you have ever tried to grow delicate culinary herbs like cilantro, parsley, or dill in containers, you know they have a terrible habit of bolting, meaning they flower quickly under stress, go to seed, and die within a few short weeks, leaving you with nothing to harvest. Garlic chives are the absolute antithesis of this fragility. This plant doesn't just survive inside a container, it completely conquers it. The biological secret to their unstoppable nature lies in their underground anatomy. The Missouri Botanical Garden explicitly warns gardeners that garlic chives spread rapidly through a dense, fiercely aggressive network of underground stems called rhizomes. They are so determined to multiply and expand that horticultural experts actually advise against planting them directly into traditional garden beds because they will escape and choke out your lawn and nearby vegetables. That containment issue is exactly what makes them the ultimate container crop. A pot acts as a fortress, trapping this wildly productive plant. For your container specifications, garlic chives are incredibly accommodating. A standard plastic, ceramic, or fabric pot that is 8 to 10 inches deep is all they need. For the planting season, plant them in the early spring. By the time summer arrives, they will have established a solid, tight block of roots that is completely unfazed by beginner mistakes. Did you forget to water the pot for a week while on vacation? They don't care. Is your potting soil cheap and completely devoid of nutrients? They adapt perfectly. But the best part of growing garlic chives is how they respond to harvesting. When you want that intense, sweet, garlicky onion flavor for your stir-fries, noodle dishes, or baked potatoes, you grab a handful of the leaves, take a sharp pair of scissors, and butcher the plant entirely down to the soil line. It looks like you just killed it. Yet within 7 days, that powerful underground rhizome network pumps up a completely fresh, identical batch of dark green leaves. They are an unstoppable flavor factory that actually thrives on physical abuse. At number 7, we have the ultimate heat-proof culinary imposter, New Zealand spinach. When the middle of July arrives and summer temperatures skyrocket, standard spinach panics. The plant receives heat stress signals, immediately bolts to seed, turns intensely bitter, and dies, leaving your balcony containers completely empty just when you want fresh salads the most. New Zealand spinach steps in to solve this problem. But here is the fascinating botanical truth documented by the Kew Royal Botanic Gardens. It isn't actually spinach at all. Its scientific name is Tetragonia tetragonioides, a completely separate species with a legendary history of survival. In the 1770s, during Captain James Cook's historic voyage, his famous onboard botanist, Sir Joseph Banks, discovered this plant growing completely wild on the arid, rugged, salt-sprayed coastlines of New Zealand and Australia. They harvested it and fed it to the sailors to successfully cure scurvy because the leaves are packed with vitamin C. The biological reason this plant is practically immortal in your containers is that agricultural scientists classify it as a halophyte, a plant that has physically adapted over thousands of years to survive in highly saline, nutrient-poor, drought-stricken coastal environments. Extreme summer heat waves? It absolutely loves them. Bone-dry potting soil? It adapts its cellular pressure without skipping a single beat. For your container specifications, because this plant has a sprawling, trailing growth habit that cascades horizontally, a 10-inch hanging basket or a wide rectangular window box planter is the ideal home. For the planting season, you want to sow these seeds in late spring, right as the temperatures begin to climb. The hotter the weather gets, the faster this vine grows, producing a continuous, abundant supply of crisp, mild, spinach-flavored leaves, when every other green vegetable on your patio has completely surrendered to the sun. Coming in at number 6 is a crop that powers through bad weather, poor soil, and insect pressure by simply outworking and outgrowing the competition. Turnip greens. The vast majority of grocery store shoppers think of turnips exclusively as a round purple and white root bulb that grows underground. But if you are gardening in containers, growing turnips specifically for their leafy tops is a bulletproof survival strategy that many beginners completely overlook. Many leafy salad crops suffer in pots because they possess shallow, fibrous, weak root systems. The moment the hot sun beats down on the sides of a plastic container, that top layer of soil dries out, the roots fry, and the plant dies. Turnips are genetically engineered with a massive evolutionary advantage. Because their primary goal is to build a storage bulb, they send an incredibly powerful, thick taproot deep into the bottom of the potting mix within days of germination. This deep biological anchor allows the leafy top to access cool moisture and reserved nutrients at the absolute bottom of the container, even if the top 3 inches of soil are bone dry, dusty, and cracked. According to data from the Clemson University Cooperative Extension, turnip greens belong to the incredibly resilient Brassica family. Their leaves are naturally coarse, fast-growing, and highly resistant to wild temperature shifts. For your container specs, to fully accommodate that rapid vertical taproot, you need to choose a pot or grow bag that is at least 10 to 12 inches deep. For the planting season, turnips are dual-season masters. Plant them in the very early spring for a fast summer harvest, or sow them in early autumn. Because the plant is so focused on aggressive vegetative growth, it easily outpaces insect damage. If aphids or caterpillars nibble on a leaf, it doesn't matter. You harvest the large outer leaves for your soups, stews, and stir-fries, and that deep taproot instantly pumps stored energy back into the crown to replace what you took overnight. It is an unstoppable biological engine. That brings us to the prestigious top 5. The 10 plants we've covered so far are incredibly tough, but these next 5 are the absolute elite, legendary survivors of the gardening world. We are moving past vegetables that just tolerate bad conditions to crops that possess survival mechanisms so aggressive they actually thrive on your mistakes. Honestly, I have personally seen the plant sitting at number 3 survive environmental disasters that shouldn't even be biologically possible for a vegetable. You definitely want to sit tight and watch the rest of this list. Entering the top 5 is an unstoppable summer machine that turns blistering heat into pure vining energy. Sweet potato greens. While most gardeners associate sweet potatoes exclusively with the heavy tubers dug up in late autumn, the leafy vines themselves are absolute culinary warriors. Let's look at the underlying biology. The sweet potato, Ipomoea batatas, is a tropical vining perennial native to the hot, humid regions of the Americas. According to agricultural data published by the University of Hawaii's College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, this plant is genetically wired to view intense sunlight and temperatures well above 90 degrees Fahrenheit as absolute peak growing conditions. While your lettuce, spinach, and celery are literally cooking to death in their containers, the sweet potato vine is hitting the gas pedal, accelerating its growth. For your container specifications, this plant is a vigorous scrambler, meaning it requires a substantial home. A large rolling container or a heavy fabric grow bag at least 15 to 20 inches deep and wide is ideal. This large volume allows the vines to cascade dramatically over the edges, creating a lush, edible green canopy that blocks sunlight from hitting the pot, naturally keeping the root zone cool. For the planting season, this is a strict warm weather crop. You want to plant your slips in late spring, well after all danger of frost has passed. The true unkillable nature of sweet potato greens shows when you make a critical watering mistake. If you completely forget about the container during a brutal summer heat wave, you will walk out to find the leaves completely deflated, limp, and draped over the sides of the pot like a dead cloth. A beginner would assume it's a total loss. But don't panic. Give the container a heavy, deep soak of water and return just 2 hours later. The entire vascular system of the plant repressurizes, and the vines stand at absolute attention as if nothing ever happened. The young leaves are a massive staple in Asian cuisine, completely edible and packed with vitamins. It is a heat-seeking missile of a crop. For number 4, we bring in a spectacular tropical warrior that builds its own structural armor against the elements, roselle. Also known across the American South as the Florida cranberry, roselle is a wild relative of the hibiscus plant, and it is completely bulletproof in large containers. Beginners often fail when trying to grow heavy-fruiting crops like tomatoes or bell peppers, because those plants require highly consistent, metered watering to prevent issues like blossom end rot or dropped flowers. Roselle simply doesn't care. Let's examine its incredible biological blueprint. According to research documents from the University of Florida Extension, roselle is a highly photoperiodic plant. This means its growth cycle is entirely dictated by the length of the day. It spends the entire blistering summer building a massive, deep, fibrous root system and a thick, almost woody crimson stem, completely ignoring drought, low-quality soil, and bugs. It stays purely in a vegetative state, making it highly stable and physically resistant to strong winds on exposed balconies. For your container setup, because this plant can grow into a substantial woody bush, you need a heavy container with a minimum depth of 12 to 15 inches. For the planting season, sow the seeds indoors in early spring and move the container outside into full sun as soon as summer begins. Then, as autumn approaches and the days start getting shorter, biological triggers tell the plant to explode with beautiful cream-colored flowers. Once the petals fall away, they leave behind thick, fleshy, bright red calyxes. These calyxes are heavily packed with anthocyanins, the exact same powerful antioxidants that give blueberries and blackberries their deep color. They are harvested continuously to make tangy, ruby-red herbal teas, syrups, and gourmet jams. It shrugs off heat waves, requires virtually no pest control, and stands tall as a hands-off producer. Cracking our top 3, let's talk about a genetic anomaly that will literally outlive its owners: tree collards. This is not a normal vegetable. Every single leafy green we buy at the grocery store is an annual or a biennial, meaning it has an unyielding biological clock that forces it to flower, produce seeds, and die within 1 or 2 seasons. Tree collards completely break the rules of nature. They are a rare, ancient perennial genetic mutation within the Brassica family. Because they almost never produce flowers or go to seed, their biological countdown clock is essentially broken. Instead of wasting energy making flowers, they channel 100% of their life force into creating thick, leathery leaves and a massive, trunk-like stem. According to agricultural records maintained by the Permaculture Research Institute and specialists at Project Tree Collard, some of these plants have been documented living and continuously producing food for over 20 years from a single planting. 2 decades of food from one single container. For your container specifications, because this vegetable literally turns into a tree, you must provide a heavy-duty, stable pot or half wine barrel that is at least 15 to 20 inches deep to prevent the wind from knocking it over. For the planting season, tree collards are grown from cuttings rather than seeds, and you can plant them in your containers during the early spring or early autumn. They don't bolt or turn bitter in the blazing summer heat, and they survive winter freezes down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit with absolute ease. Furthermore, those massive, thick leaves possess a natural waxy defense that makes them incredibly resistant to the common cabbage moths that completely destroy standard kale. You simply snap off the lower leaves as you need them for your dinner, and the tree continues to grow taller and wider. Demanding almost nothing while feeding your family year after year. The runner-up at number 2 is a crop so aggressively resilient, its sheer will to live borders on terrifying: the Jerusalem artichoke. Also known as sunchokes, these towering, beautiful relatives of the common sunflower produce heavy yields of highly nutritious, nutty tubers deep underground. The reason they sit at the number 2 spot is their absolute refusal to die. Let's look at the fascinating molecular science behind their survival. Standard potatoes store their underground energy in the form of simple starch, which means if your container soil freezes solid during a brutal winter, the water inside the starch cells expands, rupturing the plant tissue and turning the potato into a rotten mush. Jerusalem. Artichokes don't use starch. According to data from the Center for New Crops at Purdue University, they store their energy as inulin, a complex carbohydrate and prebiotic fiber. This unique biochemical makeup acts as a highly effective, natural botanical antifreeze. The soil inside your container can freeze into a solid block of ice for months, and the sunchoke tubers will survive perfectly intact, waiting to explode with 8-foot-tall stalks the following spring. But their extreme resilience is actually a major danger if you plant them in the ground. If you leave behind a single piece of tuber no larger than your fingernail during harvest, that tiny fragment has enough stored energy to regenerate a massive colony. They are practically impossible to eradicate from a yard, and that is exactly why they are the ultimate container crop. The plastic walls of the pot trap their unstoppable energy, giving you all the benefits with none of the risks. For your container specs, you need a large, wide pot or a 15-gallon grow bag at least 14 inches deep to maximize tuber production. Plant them in the early spring, ignore them through the year, and dig up pounds of crisp food in the winter. And finally, taking the absolute crown at number 1. The ultimate container producer that performs a biological miracle and literally gardens for you, the Egyptian walking onion. If you want a crop that is mathematically impossible to kill, this is the final boss of the plant world. Standard onions grow a bulb underground, send up a flower stalk, drop seeds on the ground, and die. The Egyptian walking onion completely bypasses this traditional cycle through a rare and bizarre scientific phenomenon known as vivipary, which literally translates to live birth. According to the University of Wisconsin-Madison Master Gardener program, instead of producing normal flowers and seeds at the top of its stalks, this plant produces a cluster of fully formed, miniature, genetically identical onion bulbs called topsets. As these topsets grow larger, heavier, and more mature, the tall green stalk can no longer support the physical weight. It slowly begins to bend over, reaching downward toward the ground. The moment those top sets touch the soil inside your container, they immediately shoot out roots and plant themselves. The onion literally walks across your container to find empty space and multiply. You do not have to dig holes, you do not have to buy seeds, and you do not have to propagate them. The plant functions as its own automated farmer. For your container specifications, a wide rectangular planter box about 10 to 12 inches deep is the absolute best choice, as it gives the onion plenty of runway to walk and establish new colonies. For the planting season, you can plant the bulbs at any point from early spring to late autumn. It survives sub-zero winter freezing without flinching and ignores severe summer droughts. Every single part of it is edible. You can harvest the spicy green stalks like scallions, dig up the mature base bulb, or harvest the tiny top sets to pickle them. It propagates itself, feeds you continuously, and flat out refuses to die under any circumstances. That wraps up our list of the 15 incredibly resilient vegetables that are almost impossible to kill. Which of these foolproof survivors gave you the confidence to start planting? Have you accidentally discovered another tough plant that survived your gardening mistakes? Let me know in the comments below. But don't go anywhere just yet, because our masterclass is continuing. Now that you have the absolute confidence to keep your plants alive, you are going to run into the ultimate urban gardening problem. You will run out of floor space. If you are growing on a tiny apartment balcony or a narrow patio, setting down container after container quickly consumes your entire living area. So, how do you get a massive homestead-level harvest out of a microscopic footprint? You stop growing outward and you start growing upward. Right now, we are shifting our focus from pure survival to vertical scaling. Let's dive straight into the top 15 climbing vegetables specifically designed to grow vertically, transforming your tiny, cramped balcony into a massive, towering food factory. Let's look at our first climber. We are kicking off the list with climbing nasturtiums, the ultimate edible ornamental that completely shatters the idea that vegetable gardens cannot be breathtakingly beautiful. When you live in a high-rise apartment, your balcony often feels like a sterile, concrete box. Most urban gardeners want a plant that softens those harsh lines with vibrant colors, but they do not want to waste precious container space on flowers you cannot eat. Climbing nasturtiums solve this problem instantly. They provide a stunning aesthetic upgrade while functioning as a highly productive, gourmet food source that 5-star restaurants across America charge a premium for. The vertical mechanics of this plant are fascinating. Unlike heavy vines that require industrial-strength supports, climbing nasturtiums use highly sensitive twining leaf stalks to pull themselves upward. When provided with a simple, lightweight string trellis or a thin wire mesh against your balcony wall, they will aggressively climb up to 8 feet in the air. As they ascend, their unique lily pad-shaped leaves overlap perfectly, creating a dense, lightweight living sunscreen. This biological curtain effectively blocks the harsh afternoon UV rays from baking your apartment windows, naturally lowering your indoor temperatures. For your container strategy, this is one of the cheapest and easiest setups imaginable. You only need a standard 5-gallon pot or a railing planter. The ultimate expert hack for nasturtiums is intentional neglect. If you give them premium, highly fertilized potting soil, they will produce massive amounts of leaves but absolutely zero flowers. You actually want to use poor, unfertilized soil and let the soil dry out slightly between waterings. This calculated stress forces the plant to erupt in brilliant, fiery orange, yellow, and red blossoms all over your balcony. The harvest payoff is phenomenally rewarding. Climbing nasturtiums thrive best in USD. A hardiness zones 3 through 10 as a rapid growing annual. From the moment you drop the seeds into the dirt, you are looking at an incredibly fast harvest time of just 35 to 50 days. The yield is absolutely massive because the more you pick, the more the plant regenerates. Every single part of the plant above the soil is edible. You can harvest handfuls of the vibrant flowers and the circular leaves every single week to toss into your summer salads. They deliver a brilliant, peppery, mustard-like kick that completely elevates your everyday meals while making your balcony the envy of the entire building. Coming in at number 14 is the edible sweet potato vine, a nearly indestructible tropical survivor that completely ignores the blistering heat of the American summer. By the time July rolls around, most balcony gardeners are watching their standard leafy greens wilt, turn intensely bitter, and completely die off in the oppressive heat. The edible sweet potato vine is the ultimate workaround. While traditional backyard farmers grow sweet potatoes in massive, heavy mounds of dirt to harvest the underground tubers in the fall, we are utilizing a brilliant urban gardening cheat code. We are growing this aggressively fast vine strictly for its highly nutritious, heat-proof leaves. The vertical mechanics of the sweet potato vine make it an absolute powerhouse for balcony climate control. It is a wildly vigorous grower that functions perfectly as both a climber and a cascading spiller. If you plant it in a railing box and give it a vertical trellis, it will rapidly weave its thick vines upward. Its broad, heart-shaped leaves are biologically designed to soak up intense sunlight. By training it up a net, you create an impenetrable, thick green wall. This living sunscreen acts as a formidable heat shield, absorbing the solar radiation before it can hit your apartment's sliding glass doors, keeping your living room dramatically cooler. To execute the perfect container strategy, you should use a wide, shallow 10-gallon pot. Because we do not care about root development, you do not need deep soil. The expert hack here is to aggressively feed the plant with high nitrogen liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks. Nitrogen specifically fuels extreme foliage growth. You want to force the plant to push all of its energy into creating a massive, sprawling canopy of tender green and deep purple leaves rather than wasting energy below the soil line. The harvest payoff is perfectly suited for the midsummer heat wave. This plant completely dominates in USDA hardiness zones 8 through 11, but thrives beautifully as a summer annual in cooler zones. It boasts a staggering harvest time, providing tender shoots in just 30 to 40 days after planting. The yield is practically infinite. It is a true cut-and-come-again crop. You take a pair of scissors and aggressively snip off the top 6 inches of the vines every week. The plant simply branches out and grows back thicker. The leaves have a mild, sweet flavor and are traditionally sautéed with garlic and olive oil, giving you an endless supply of premium summer greens right on your patio. At number 13, we have Malabar spinach, an exotic architectural masterpiece that serves as the ultimate heat wave rescue crop for the American balcony gardener. When the midsummer temperatures consistently cross the 90-degree mark, attempting to grow traditional spinach or delicate lettuces in containers is a complete waste of time. They will immediately bolt, flower, and die. Malabar spinach is not actually true spinach at all. It is a tropical, vining succulent that absolutely worships the heat and humidity. When your other balcony plants are begging for shade, this vibrant, red-stemmed vine hits the accelerator and grows at a terrifying speed. The vertical mechanics of Malabar spinach are a sight to behold. It features thick, fleshy, ruby-red vines that aggressively twist and twine around any vertical support they can find. You must provide it with a sturdy vertical string trellis or a rigid metal grid. Because the leaves are semi-succulent, meaning they store water inside their thick cellular walls, the foliage creates a heavy, dense canopy. As it climbs toward your ceiling, it forms a gorgeous, waxy, living sunscreen. This thick barrier completely blocks out the blinding afternoon glare, turning your balcony into a shaded, tropical oasis in the middle of a concrete jungle. For your container strategy, you need a heavy 7 to 10 gallon pot to counterbalance the massive weight of the vine once it reaches the top of the trellis. The ultimate balcony hack for Malabar spinach is moisture manipulation. Because it originates from the tropics, it craves humidity. If you live in a dry climate, use a spray bottle to heavily mist the leaves and the balcony walls around the plant every morning. This micro-level humidity explosion will trick the plant into thinking it is in a rainforest, causing the leaf size to double and the vines to surge upward. The harvest payoff is where this plant truly shines. It performs flawlessly in USDA hardiness zones 7 through 11, where the summers are long and brutally hot. You are looking at a highly productive harvest time of 50 to 70 days. The yield is absolutely astronomical. A single seed can easily produce a vine that stretches over 10 feet long, pumping out pounds of thick, dark green leaves. You can harvest the massive leaves continuously from midsummer all the way until the first hard frost. The leaves have a crisp, slightly peppery flavor with a hint of citrus. They hold their shape perfectly when tossed into a hot wok for a summer stir-fry or heavily chopped into fresh, heat-proof salads. Coming in at number 12 are scarlet runner beans, a breathtaking, dual-purpose climbing vine that brings unparalleled wildlife energy directly to your high-rise balcony. Most urban container gardeners assume that attracting beautiful pollinators like hummingbirds is a luxury reserved for massive suburban backyards. The scarlet runner bean completely changes that narrative. It is a legendary American heirloom plant that combines the aggressive, food-producing power of a heavy vegetable crop with the stunning ornamental beauty of a premium floral vine, making it one of the most exciting plants you can put on a patio. The vertical mechanics are built for total domination. This plant does not produce delicate, fragile vines. It throws out thick, incredibly strong runners that will aggressively wrap around anything in their path. You must provide a heavy-duty nylon trellis net or secure wooden poles. As it climbs, it rapidly builds a massive wall of dark green textured foliage. But the true magic happens when it erupts into clusters of brilliant, fiery red flowers. This thick, flowering living sunscreen provides total privacy from your neighbors while acting as an irresistible, glowing beacon for hummingbirds, turning your urban balcony into a vibrant nature sanctuary. Your container strategy requires a large footprint to support the aggressive root system, so a 15-gallon pot or a deep planter box is mandatory. The critical expert hack for growing these in containers during the summer is root temperature control. While the vines love the sun, the roots absolutely despise being baked in a hot plastic pot. You must heavily mulch the surface of the potting soil with 3 inches of straw or wood chips, and ideally, place a smaller potted plant directly in front of the bean pot to cast a permanent shadow on the soil, keeping the root zone deep and cool. The harvest payoff is spectacular and versatile. They grow exceptionally well as a perennial in USDA hardiness zones 7 through 11 and act as a rapid-growing summer annual in cooler zones 3 through 6. The harvest time hits right around 65 to 75 days. The yield is incredibly heavy, providing you with multiple pounds of food from a single container. You can harvest the young, tender green pods early and eat them exactly like standard snap beans. Alternatively, you can let them fully mature on the vine until the fall, crack the pods open, and harvest the stunning, massive pink and purple mottled beans inside to dry and use for hearty winter stews. At number 11, we have the sugar snap pea, unlocking one of the greatest high-yield secrets in the container gardening world, the fall balcony harvest. Most beginner gardeners associate peas strictly with the cool, damp weather of early spring. By the time July arrives, their spring peas have completely died off in the heat and they leave their trellises empty. But the true urban gardening masters know that the middle of summer is the exact, perfect time to start a brand new generation of sugar snap peas. By planting them now, You are setting up a massive, crunchy harvest perfectly timed for the crisp days of autumn. The vertical mechanics of sugar snap peas are incredibly elegant and lightweight. Unlike heavy beans or gourds, peas use highly advanced, delicate little tendrils that act like biological fingers. These tendrils will flawlessly wrap around thin wires, fishing line, or lightweight balcony netting. Because the vines and leaves are smaller and more refined, they do not create a heavy, dark wall. Instead, they form a dappled, translucent, living sunscreen. This gently filters the harsh sunlight, allowing a beautiful, soft green glow to enter your apartment windows without blocking your view of the city skyline. For your container strategy, these are perfectly suited for tight spaces, thriving easily in small 5 to 7 gallon pots or narrow railing boxes. The ultimate midsummer hack to get these cool weather seeds to germinate in the July heat is the shadow sowing technique. You do not place the seeded pot in the direct sun. Instead, you tuck the pot completely underneath the shade of your larger tomato or pepper plants. The shade keeps the potting soil up to 10 degrees cooler, tricking the pea seeds into germinating. Once they sprout and the August heat begins to break, you move them into the sun to let them climb. The harvest payoff is an absolute joy. They are a critical late-season crop for USDA hardiness zones 3 through 8. When planted in midsummer, you are looking at a fast harvest time of just 60 to 70 days, meaning your vines will be loaded with food by September. The yield is famously prolific. A small balcony trellis will produce hundreds of bright green, plump pods. There is simply nothing better than stepping out onto your balcony in the cool autumn air and snapping off a handful of sweet, incredibly crunchy peas for the ultimate healthy American garden snack. We have covered the ornamental beauties and the secret fall harvests, but as we move into the top 10, we are looking at the heavy hitters. These are the absolute workhorses of the container garden, plants that are currently going viral online for their bizarre shapes and massive yields. Before we dive into these rapid growth vines, if you are finding value in this balcony survival guide, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on our urban gardening secrets. Now, let's look at a cucumber that is built like a snake and the ultimate trending bath sponge hack. At number 10 is the Armenian cucumber, a bizarre, snake-like anomaly that completely solves the biggest complaint gardeners have about summer cucumbers: the bitter taste. When the brutal heat waves of July and August hit, standard cucumbers undergo severe heat stress, pumping a chemical called cucurbitacin into the fruit, which makes them incredibly bitter and inedible. The Armenian cucumber is biologically entirely different. Technically, it is a variety of muskmelon, which means it absolutely thrives in the blistering heat and never, ever turns bitter, delivering a perfectly sweet, crisp crunch every single time. The vertical mechanics of this plant are the secret to its aesthetic perfection. If you grow these on the ground in a traditional garden, the fruits curl up into strange, twisted knots and often rot on the damp soil. But when you grow them on a balcony, gravity becomes your best friend. By training the strong vines up a heavy-duty trellis, the massive, ribbed fruits hang suspended in the air, allowing gravity to pull them perfectly straight. Meanwhile, the large, umbrella-like leaves form a dense, heavy living sunscreen that creates a deep, cooling shade over your balcony seating area. Your container strategy must accommodate its aggressive growth, requiring at least a 10-gallon pot to hold enough moisture. The ultimate expert hack for this specific plant is implementing a strict, consistent watering schedule using a drip emitter. Because these fruits grow so incredibly fast in the summer heat, any sudden fluctuation in soil moisture will cause the thin skin of the cucumber to violently split open. Keeping the soil consistently damp ensures flawless, beautiful fruits. The harvest payoff is unbelievably rewarding. This heat-loving vine thrives best in USDA hardiness zones 5 through 11. From seeding to harvest, you only need about 60 to 70 days. The yield is staggering. A single healthy vine can produce dozens of cucumbers, each reaching up to 2 feet in length. Because the skin is so thin and lacks the waxy coating of grocery store cucumbers, there is absolutely no peeling required. You simply slice them into large, ribbed rounds for the most refreshing, heat-proof summer salad you will ever eat on your patio. Coming in at number 9 is the loofah gourd, an aggressive, heavy-duty climber that has recently exploded across social media as the ultimate sustainable gardening trend. If you have an exposed, south-facing balcony that receives punishing afternoon sun, this plant is your biological savior. Most people assume the sponges they buy for their bathroom are synthetic or come from the ocean. Discovering that you can grow premium, organic bath sponges on an apartment balcony is a massive revelation, making this one of the most exciting and conversation-starting plants you can possibly grow. The vertical mechanics of the loofah require serious infrastructure. This is not a delicate vine, it is a genetic powerhouse that produces thick, grasping tendrils. It will desperately grab onto heavy netting, rigid metal grids, or overhead balcony rafters, rapidly climbing toward the ceiling to create a magnificent roof. As it aggressively covers your vertical space, the massive leaves overlap to form an impenetrable living sunscreen, completely blocking the harshest UV rays. It also erupts with giant, brilliant yellow flowers that act as a beacon for urban pollinators. To support this massive canopy, your container strategy requires a minimum of a 15-gallon pot filled with rich, well-draining soil. The expert balcony hack for the loofah is phosphorus manipulation. Because it grows so aggressively, it often produces too many leaves and not enough gourds. Once the vine reaches the top of your trellis, you must switch to a high-phosphorus organic fertilizer. This sudden shift forces the plant to stop building leaves and channel all of its energy into setting dozens of heavy, hanging gourds. The harvest payoff offers incredible dual-purpose utility. The loofah demands a long, hot summer, thriving in USDA hardiness zones 6 through 11. If you want to eat it, the harvest time is about 60 days. You pick the gourds when they are small and tender, cooking them exactly like zucchini. But if you want the famous sponges, you leave them hanging on the vine for over 100 days until they turn brown and lightweight. The yield is fantastic. One vine can give you a dozen large sponges. You simply peel off the dry skin to reveal a lifetime supply of natural, exfoliating shower sponges right from your balcony. At number 8, we have pole beans, the absolute workhorse of the American summer garden and an essential staple for any urban barbecue enthusiast. While standard bush beans are great for a quick harvest, they are a terrible choice for small balconies because they take up a massive amount of horizontal floor space and die off after a few weeks. Pole beans, particularly legendary heirloom varieties like Kentucky Wonder, completely solve this by growing straight up. They are a perpetual food machine, giving you a continuous, heavy harvest while occupying almost zero square footage on your patio. The vertical mechanics are flawless for apartment balconies. Unlike peas that use tendrils to grip, pole beans are twiners. The main stem of the plant actively spirals and wraps itself tightly around any vertical pole, string, or wire you provide. By running simple vertical twine from your balcony railing up to the ceiling, the beans will rapidly ascend, weaving a beautiful, vibrant green wall. This tight canopy acts as a highly effective living sunscreen, lowering the ambient temperature of your outdoor space while keeping the bean pods perfectly shaded and tender. For your container strategy, a 10-gallon pot or a long, narrow railing trough is ideal. The ultimate expert hack to guarantee a massive yield is biological inoculation. Before you plant the seeds, you coat them in an organic inoculant powder containing rhizobia bacteria. This beneficial bacteria attaches to the roots and allows the plant to literally pull nitrogen out of the air to feed itself. This completely eliminates the need for expensive chemical fertilizers and supercharges the vertical growth. The harvest payoff is nothing short of an avalanche of food. Pole beans are incredibly adaptable, performing beautifully as a summer crop in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. You will start harvesting in just 60 to 65 days. The yield is practically limitless because of their biology. The more you pick, the more flowers the plant produces. You will be harvesting handfuls of crisp, stringless green beans every single week until the first frost. They are the ultimate summer side dish, perfect for tossing in olive oil and throwing directly onto a hot backyard grill. Coming in at number 7 are traditional vining cucumbers, the crisp, refreshing cornerstone of every single summer salad. Growing cucumbers on a small balcony usually ends in disaster because most beginners let the vines sprawl across the floor. When cucumber leaves sit on damp concrete or wet potting soil, they immediately fall victim to powdery mildew, rot, and aggressive soil-borne pests. By utilizing vertical vining varieties like the classic Market More, you completely eliminate these ground-level diseases and transform a sprawling mess into a highly organized vertical food factory. The vertical mechanics of these cucumbers rely on incredibly strong, spring-like tendrils that shoot out from the main stem, wrapping tightly around any trellis netting or metal fencing. As the vine climbs, it elevates the massive broad leaves into the air. This elevated canopy maximizes airflow, keeping the leaves dry and disease-free, while simultaneously creating a lush living sunscreen that casts a deep, cool shadow across your balcony. Most importantly, gravity ensures the cucumbers hang straight down in the open air, preventing the yellow ground spots and rot that ruin traditional harvests. Your container strategy requires a heavy 7 to 10 gallon pot to retain moisture during the blistering August afternoons. The critical expert hack for vertical cucumbers is aggressive bottom pruning. Once the vine has successfully climbed a few feet up the trellis, you must take a pair of sterile scissors and cut off all the leaves within the first 12 inches of the soil line. This completely severs the disease bridge, preventing any fungal spores in the dirt from splashing up onto the leaves when you water the pot. The harvest payoff guarantees you will never buy a watery grocery store cucumber again. They thrive exceptionally well across USDA hardiness zones 4 through 11. With a fast maturity rate, you will be pulling crisp fruits off the vine in exactly 55 to 65 days. The yield from a single vertical vine is massive, easily providing 20 to 30 perfect cucumbers. Walking out to your shaded balcony to snap a perfectly hydrated, sun-warmed cucumber right off the vine is the ultimate reward of the midsummer urban garden. At number 6, we have the cucamelon, the undisputed darling of garden social media and an absolute must-grow for anyone with kids. This plant is a viral sensation for a good reason. It produces hundreds of fruits that look exactly like perfectly striped, microscopic watermelons, but when you pop them in your mouth, they taste like a crisp cucumber with a bright, refreshing squeeze of lime. It is an incredibly fun, exotic, and high-yielding crop that completely changes the dynamic of your balcony garden, offering maximum entertainment value with zero effort. The vertical mechanics of the cucamelon make it the perfect candidate for delicate apartment setups. Unlike heavy gourds or massive tomatoes, the vines of the cucamelon are incredibly thin, lightweight, and fragile-looking. They will not pull down a flimsy trellis or damage rental property fixtures. They weave their delicate tendrils through fine netting, creating a beautiful, lacy living sunscreen. This creates a beautifully dappled, filtered light effect on your balcony, providing gentle shade without plunging your apartment into total darkness. For the container strategy, their lightweight nature means you only need a standard 5-gallon pot, but the true expert cheat code for cucamelons lies beneath the soil. While everyone treats them as an annual, they actually develop a thick, radish-like tuber under the dirt. At the end of the summer, instead of throwing the plant away, you can dig up this tuber, store it in a cool, dark closet over the winter, and replant it the following spring. This hack gives you a massive, explosive head start on the growing season. The harvest payoff is an absolute blast. They are grown as annuals in cooler regions, but act as returning perennials in USD, a hardiness zones 7 through 10. The harvest time hits around 65 to 75 days. The yield is absolutely staggering. A single delicate vine will produce hundreds of these grape-sized fruits. You do not need to peel them or prep them. You simply pluck them off the living sunscreen and eat them whole like candy. Or toss them into a jar with some garlic and dill for the most unique, bite-sized pickles you have ever tasted. We have seen viral sensations and space-saving vines, but as we enter our top 5, we are moving into the absolute heavyweights. These are the plants that will completely drop the jaws of anyone who walks onto your balcony. We are talking about suspending massive, heavy autumn harvests entirely in midair and unleashing the undisputed king of the container garden. If you want maximum food production and the ultimate living sunscreen, these final 5 are the only plants you will ever need. Let's bring it home. At number 5, we introduce miniature pumpkins, a plant that allows you to capture the absolute magic of the American autumn right on a tiny apartment balcony. When most people think of growing pumpkins for Halloween or Thanksgiving, they picture massive, sprawling suburban fields taking up hundreds of square feet. The idea of growing pumpkins on a high-rise patio seems impossible until you discover miniature vining varieties like Jack B. Little. By utilizing these genetically scaled-down vines, you can bring the ultimate festive harvest to your urban space without sacrificing a single inch of your precious floor plan. The vertical mechanics of miniature pumpkins are a masterpiece of biological engineering. Unlike giant pumpkins that require the ground to support their massive weight, these thin, wiry vines are perfectly designed to climb. They use tight tendrils to grasp onto balcony railing grids or overhead netting. As they pull themselves upward, their iconic, deeply lobed leaves overlap to create a dense, highly effective living sunscreen. But the true magic happens when the fruits develop. Because these pumpkins max out at just half a pound, the vines are strong enough to suspend them completely in midair, creating a floating canopy of brilliant orange globes above your seating area. For your container strategy, you will need a 10-gallon pot to provide enough moisture to sustain the rapid growth. The ultimate balcony hack for these miniature vines is extreme vertical training. Do not let a single vine touch the floor. As soon as the plant throws out a runner, you must weave it upward into your trellis. By keeping the vines and the fruits entirely airborne, you eliminate the risk of soil-borne rot and keep your balcony floor completely clean and usable for your patio furniture. The harvest payoff is incredibly satisfying and perfectly timed for the holidays. Miniature pumpkins are a fantastic summer to fall crop that thrives across USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. When planted in midsummer, they have a harvest time of 90 to 95 days, meaning your balcony will be loaded with bright orange pumpkins just in time for October. The yield is surprisingly high. A single vertical vine can easily produce 8 to 12 perfect little pumpkins. They are absolutely stunning as holiday decorations, and because the flesh is incredibly sweet, you can roast them whole and stuff them with wild rice for a high-end gourmet autumn dinner. Coming in at number 4 is vining butternut squash, the quintessential comfort food of the American fall season, completely reimagined for the urban container garden. Butternut squash is famous for making the rich, creamy soups that define autumn, but traditional varieties are notorious garden hogs, sending out vines that can easily swallow a 20-foot yard. The solution for the balcony gardener is to force this sprawling monster into the sky. By carefully selecting aggressive vining varieties and giving them the right infrastructure, you can suspend a massive, heavy winter harvest directly above your head, saving 100% of your floor space. The vertical mechanics of butternut squash require serious respect and heavy-duty preparation. This plant produces thick, tubular vines and massive, umbrella-like leaves. When trained up a rigid metal grid or a heavy wooden trellis, these giant leaves create the ultimate living sunscreen, casting a deep, cooling shadow that can drop the temperature of your balcony by 10 degrees. However, unlike miniature pumpkins, a mature butternut squash is incredibly heavy. The vine itself cannot support the weight of the hanging fruit without ripping entirely off the trellis. This brings us to your container strategy and the most important expert hack on this list, the melon hammock. You will need a massive 15 to 20 gallon pot to fuel this plant. Once the squash begins to form and swell in midair, you must create a sling using old pantyhose, t-shirts, or specialized netting. You tie this hammock directly to the structural metal of your balcony rail or heavy trellis, allowing the hammock to cradle the heavy fruit. This takes all the weight off the vine, allowing the squash to grow to a massive size while suspended safely in the air. The harvest payoff is heavy, highly nutritious, and incredibly long-lasting. Butternut squash loves the long, hot summers of USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. It is a marathon crop, requiring a harvest time of 100 to 110 days. While the yield may seem smaller, usually 4 to 5 large squashes per vine, the actual weight of the food produced is massive. The greatest benefit of this crop is its incredible storage capacity. Once harvested in the late fall, the thick, tan skin allows you to store them in your apartment pantry for up to 6 months, giving you homegrown food all winter long. At number 3, we have vining zucchini, a brilliant spatial cheat code that completely revolutionizes the most popular summer vegetable in America. Zucchini is a mandatory staple for backyard barbecues, but standard bush zucchini is an absolute nightmare for apartment gardeners. A single bush variety will rapidly expand to the size of a tractor tire, completely eating up your entire balcony floor and leaving no room for you to even stand. Vining zucchini varieties, like the legendary Tromboncino or Black Forest, flip the script entirely. They abandon the horizontal bush shape and instead climb aggressively skyward, handing you a massive harvest from a tiny footprint. The vertical mechanics of this plant solve almost every disease problem associated with standard zucchini. By tying the thick main stem to a sturdy wooden pole or a heavy iron trellis, you force the giant, prehistoric-looking leaves upward. This towering green column acts as a fantastic living sunscreen for the corner of your patio. More importantly, by elevating the plant, you maximize wind airflow around the leaves, completely eradicating the powdery mildew that usually destroys zucchini. Furthermore, because the fruits hang straight down from the vertical stem, they never touch the wet potting soil, ensuring they grow perfectly straight and never rot. Your container strategy requires a heavy 10 to 15 gallon pot. The expert hack for vining zucchini is a technique called aggressive lower pruning. As the vine climbs up your pole and sets fruit, the older leaves at the bottom of the plant near the dirt will start to fade. You must take a sharp knife and completely cut off all the leaves below the lowest hanging fruit. This creates a bare stem at the bottom, which pushes all the plant's energy up into the new growth and makes it entirely impossible for soil-borne pests to climb up into your canopy. The harvest payoff is famous for being overwhelmingly abundant. Vining zucchini is incredibly vigorous in USD, hardiness zones 3 through 11. It offers a blisteringly fast harvest time of just 50 to 60 days. The yield is legendary. A single climbing vine can easily produce 20 to 30 large zucchinis over the summer, practically forcing you to give food away to your neighbors. You will have a perpetual daily supply of fresh, crisp summer squash to slice thick, brush with olive oil, and throw directly onto your balcony grill. Coming in at number 2 is the winged bean, an exotic masterpiece often referred to as the one-plant supermarket. When you are gardening on a highly restricted apartment balcony, your biggest priority is maximizing utility. You cannot afford to grow plants that only offer one edible part. The winged bean is a breathtaking tropical climbing vine where literally every single piece of the plant is edible and highly nutritious. It brings an incredible, otherworldly aesthetic to your patio while functioning as an unstoppable vertical food factory. The vertical mechanics of this plant are built to dominate blistering summer heat and oppressive humidity. As it tightly twines its way up your balcony netting, it rapidly builds a massive wall of vibrant foliage. This thick canopy creates a formidable living sunscreen, completely blocking harsh afternoon UV rays from baking your apartment windows. The true visual spectacle happens when it blooms. The vine erupts with striking pale blue flowers that eventually transform into long, jagged pods with 4 distinct frilly wings running down their sides. For your container strategy, you will need a sturdy 10-gallon pot to support its aggressive growth and extensive root system. The ultimate expert balcony hack is fully exploiting its complete edibility to save space. While you wait for the alien-like pods to form, you do not just sit around. You can aggressively prune the tender young leaves and sauté them exactly like spinach. You can even harvest the delicate blue blossoms, which surprisingly taste like fresh mushrooms, to visually elevate your summer salads. The harvest payoff is staggering in its versatility. The winged bean loves intense heat, thriving perfectly in USDA hardiness zones 9 through 11 as a perennial, and acts as a vigorous summer annual in cooler zones 4 through 8. You are looking at a harvest time of 75 to 85 days. The yield is exceptionally high, providing dozens of crunchy, high-protein pods perfect for hot stir-fries. But the ultimate reward comes when the season ends. Before throwing the dead vine away, you can dig into the potting soil and harvest the tuberous roots, which pack significantly more protein than standard potatoes. Securing the crown at number 1 is the indeterminate cherry tomato, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the American balcony garden. If you only have space for exactly 1 pot on your patio, this is the only plant you should ever consider. The word indeterminate is the secret to its dominance. While determinate bush tomatoes grow to a specific height, produce 1 batch of fruit, and die, an indeterminate vine literally never stops growing. It will continue to climb, flower, and pump out sugary sweet tomatoes every single day until the winter snow finally kills it. The vertical mechanics of this plant are awe-inspiring. These vines can easily reach 10 to 12 feet in length. You must provide them with a tall, rigid stake, a heavy trellis, or a vertical string dropped from the ceiling. As you tie the main stem to the support, the plant rapidly builds a towering, dense wall of foliage. This massive canopy is the ultimate living sunscreen, completely shielding your apartment from the brutal afternoon glare. Walking out onto your balcony and being surrounded by a towering, fragrant wall of tomato leaves and glowing red fruit is the absolute pinnacle of urban container gardening. Your container strategy requires a large, deep, 10 to 15-gallon pot. The absolute greatest expert hack for planting tomatoes happens on day 1. Deep trenching. When you buy your tomato seedling, do not plant it at the same depth it was in its nursery cup. You must strip off the bottom leaves and bury the stem as deeply as possible into the potting soil, right up to its top leaves. The buried stem will instantly shoot out thousands of new roots, creating a massive, indestructible root system that will easily pump water up a 10-foot vertical vine during the hottest days of August. The harvest payoff is the greatest reward in all of container gardening. Indeterminate cherry tomatoes are highly adaptable, thriving as a heavy summer crop in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. Depending on the variety, like the famous Sun Gold, harvest time begins at just 60 to 70 days after planting. The yield is genuinely unbelievable. A single vertical vine will produce hundreds, sometimes thousands of bite-sized tomatoes over the course of the season. They are so incredibly sweet that they taste like sun-warmed candy, giving you an endless premium harvest that will completely transform the way you cook, eat, and live in your apartment. That wraps up our list of the 15 climbing vegetables that will turn your tiny balcony into a massive vertical harvest. Which of these climbers are you adding to your trellis first? Did I miss a favorite vertical crop that you love to grow? Let me know in the comments below. But don't go anywhere just yet, because our urban gardening masterclass is far from over. Now that you have completely maximized your vertical space and created a lush green wall of food, we need to address the invisible downside of city living: urban air pollution. You might have a beautiful, highly productive balcony, but if you live in a dense city, you are constantly battling smog, traffic exhaust, and poor air quality. What if your container garden could do more than just feed you? What if it could actively protect your health by working around the clock as a biological air filter? Right now, we are shifting our focus from vertical food production to natural filtration. Let's dive straight into the next 15 container vegetables and herbs that automatically purify your balcony air, actively pulling toxins from the environment to transform your outdoor space into a fresh, breathable sanctuary. Let's get started. At number 15 is peppermint, the absolute fastest way to completely alter the atmosphere of a stagnant, sweltering urban balcony. When the midsummer heat settles over the city, the air on a concrete patio can feel heavy, suffocating, and loaded with the lingering smells of hot trash and vehicle exhaust. Peppermint is a botanical disruptor. It acts as an instant, living air conditioner that violently cuts through the heavy smog, replacing it with a piercing, icy wave of freshness. The secret behind this dramatic environmental shift is its massive concentration of menthol. Menthol is a highly volatile compound, meaning it evaporates into the air incredibly quickly, especially when heated by the afternoon sun. When this menthol vapor hits the olfactory receptors in your nose, it tricks your brain into feeling a physical sensation of cold. It completely masks low-hanging urban odors and instantly makes the airspace on your balcony feel lighter, crisper, and infinitely easier to breathe in. For the container gardener, peppermint is a plant that demands to be confined. In a traditional backyard, its roots are incredibly invasive, spreading like a relentless weed. But by locking it inside a heavy 10-gallon balcony pot, you create a perfectly contained, high-output fragrance factory. Position the pot right next to your seating area or near your air conditioning intake vent to ensure every breeze carries that cooling vapor directly toward you. The multitasking value of peppermint is spectacular. Aside from acting as an aggressive, natural air freshener for your patio, you can continuously harvest the leaves to brew refreshing iced teas or muddle into your evening cocktails, making it an essential urban survivor. At number 14, we have lemon balm, an incredibly resilient, shade-tolerant herb that serves as nature's ultimate deodorizer. One of the major challenges of apartment living is dealing with the unpredictable and often unpleasant smells wafting over from neighboring balconies, whether it is lingering cigarette smoke, harsh cleaning chemicals, or heavy cooking odors. Lemon balm acts as a dense, living sponge that actively overrides these intrusive smells with a clean, uplifting, and completely natural citrus aroma. The biological power of lemon balm lies in its rich profile of citronellal and geraniol. Unlike synthetic, store-bought air fresheners that merely cover up bad smells with heavy-scent headache-inducing perfumes, the essential oils in lemon balm chemically interact with odor molecules in the air, neutralizing them. The scent is remarkably similar to a freshly squeezed lemon, but with a deeper, earthy undertone that has been scientifically proven to reduce cortisol levels and significantly lower human anxiety just by inhaling it. Because urban balconies are often shadowed by surrounding high-rises, finding aromatic plants that thrive without full sun can be difficult. Lemon balm is the perfect solution. It grows vigorously in partial shade, meaning you can tuck it into the darker, cooler corners of your patio where other herbs would stretch and die. It forms a dense, bushy mound of textured green leaves that look beautiful spilling over the edges of a decorative pot. To activate this biological air freshener, you simply run your hands through the foliage whenever you walk outside. The crushed leaves release an immediate, powerful cloud of lemon vapor, instantly resetting the scent of your balcony while providing you with the perfect leaves for a calming, stress-relieving evening tea. At number 13 is lemon verbena, a magnificent, woody shrub that holds the undisputed title for the purest, most intensely concentrated lemon fragrance in the botanical world. If lemon balm is a subtle air freshener, lemon verbena is a botanical powerhouse. When city air feels deeply polluted or heavily saturated with exhaust fumes, this elegant plant produces a fragrance so sharp and impeccably clean that it completely dominates the local airspace, making your balcony smell like an expensive, high-end spa. The sheer strength of lemon verbena comes from its extraordinarily high levels of citral. While many plants mimic the scent of citrus, the essential oils packed into the long, spear-shaped leaves of this plant are remarkably potent. You do not even need to crush the leaves to activate it. On a warm summer afternoon, the natural evaporation of the oils creates a permanent, fragrant halo around the container. As the wind brushes through the tall, elegant branches, it sweeps that intoxicating, clean scent across your entire outdoor living space. To successfully grow lemon verbena on a balcony, you need to treat it like a premium centerpiece. It requires a large, deep container, at least 10 gallons, to support its extensive root system and tall with the woody stems. Placed in full sun, this plant will reward you with rapid growth, transforming a boring corner of your patio into a striking aromatic architectural feature that naturally purifies the sensory experience of your balcony. Beyond its role as a premium environmental deodorizer, lemon verbena is a highly prized culinary asset. The leaves retain their intense flavor even when dried, allowing you to harvest them at the end of the season to create world-class herbal teas, infused syrups, and incredibly aromatic baked goods. At number 12, we introduce thyme, a low-growing, creeping herb that transitions our list from simple odor neutralizers to actual microscopic air sanitizers. When gardening in tight, enclosed urban balconies, the air around closely packed, damp pots can often become musty and loaded with airborne fungal spores. Thyme operates as a relentless, ground-level guardian, utilizing its powerful chemistry to actively fight off bacteria and keep the immediate atmosphere remarkably pure and clean. The secret weapon in this tiny plant is a phenolic compound called thymol. In medical and scientific communities, thymol is globally recognized for its severe antimicrobial, antifungal, and antibacterial properties. In fact, it is the primary active ingredient in many commercial mouthwashes and natural hospital-grade disinfectants. As the thyme plant sits on your balcony baking in the sun, it continuously releases microscopic aerosolized droplets of thymol into the air. This invisible vapor actively attacks and neutralizes airborne pathogens hovering around your containers. For container architecture, thyme is completely indispensable. Because it possesses a shallow root system and naturally weeping branches. It is the ultimate spiller plant. You can plant it along the very edge of your balcony railing planters or window boxes. As it cascades over the sides, it catches the updrafts of wind rising from the city streets below, efficiently dispersing its sanitary, earthy scent throughout your entire patio ecosystem. It is absolutely incredible that a plant capable of literally sanitizing the air around it is also one of the most fundamental ingredients in French and Italian cooking. You get a living, breathing medical-grade air purifier that simultaneously guarantees a lifetime supply of savory seasoning for your roasted meats and winter stews. At number 11 is oregano, a fiercely rugged, sun-loving herb that acts as a profound respiratory healer for the urban dweller. Living in a densely populated city, means your lungs are constantly bombarded by microparticulates, smog, and dust. Stepping onto your balcony should offer a chance to breathe deeply and recover. Oregano is perfectly equipped to facilitate this. It doesn't just make the air smell better. The compounds it releases are biologically designed to open up your airways and clear your sinuses. The primary biological agent in oregano is carvacrol, a highly potent organic phenol. Much like the thymol found in thyme, carvacrol possesses staggering antibacterial and antiviral properties. For centuries, traditional medicine has relied on inhaling the steam of crushed oregano leaves to treat severe respiratory infections and asthma. By dedicating a large, sun-drenched pot to this incredible plant on your patio, you are essentially creating a continuous, passive diffusion of these lung-clearing compounds right into your personal breathing space. Oregano is arguably one of the lowest maintenance plants you could ever choose for a balcony. It originates from the rocky, arid cliffs of the Mediterranean, meaning it actively prefers poor soil and thrives on neglect. Plant it in a highly porous terracotta pot and let the soil dry out completely between waterings. The hotter and drier the conditions get, the more aggressively the plant concentrates its volatile oils, resulting in a stronger, more therapeutic fragrance. The ultimate reward is the harvest. While it silently works to sanitize the air and protect your respiratory health, you can continually snip the leaves to create authentic, rustic Italian sauces, marinades, and the perfect topping for your homemade pizzas. It is a rugged survivor that heals the body and feeds the soul. We have just seen how herbs like thyme and oregano act as aggressive biological sanitizers, actively fighting off airborne bacteria. But what if you need more than just a clean balcony? What if you need a space that actually heals your lungs and calms your nervous system after a chaotic day in the city? As we move into our next group, we are looking at the ultimate botanical therapists. At number 10 is rosemary, a structural, evergreen herb that possesses an unparalleled ability to make the heavy, muddy air of a city feel instantly sharp, sterile, and incredibly crisp. When you live in a dense urban environment, the air on a concrete patio can often feel thick with humidity and lingering pollution. Rosemary cuts through that atmospheric density like a blade. It offers a piercing, woody, pine-like fragrance that instantly awakens the senses and fundamentally changes how the air on your balcony feels in your lungs. The secret to this crisp, clean aroma is a powerful organic compound called rosmarinic acid, combined with high levels of pinene. In the world of aromatherapy and cognitive science, inhaling the scent of rosemary is highly documented for its ability to stimulate the brain, improve memory retention, and clear mental fog. When the hot summer sun beats down on your balcony, the needle-like leaves of the rosemary plant actively release these volatile oils, creating an invisible, intellectually stimulating, and heavily oxygenated microclimate right outside your door. To properly harness this purifying power in a container, you must respect the plant's Mediterranean origins. Rosemary absolutely despises sitting in wet, soggy soil. It requires a highly porous terracotta pot filled with a gritty, fast-draining cactus or citrus mix. By placing it in the sunniest, most brutally hot corner of your balcony, you force the plant to concentrate its essential oils. The tougher the conditions, the stronger and more therapeutic the fragrance becomes. Beyond its role as a living, botanical air purifier, rosemary is a non-negotiable staple for the home chef. You are cultivating a permanent, evergreen air freshener that guarantees you will always have the perfect, savory sprig ready to elevate your roasted potatoes, artisan breads, and grilled steaks. At number 9, we have eucalyptus, the undisputed heavyweight champion of respiratory healing. During urban allergy seasons or days when the city smog is particularly oppressive, stepping outside can actually make your chest feel tight and congested. Millions of Americans spend a fortune on synthetic eucalyptus shower sprays and essential oil diffusers to help them breathe. By growing the actual living plant on your balcony, you create a permanent, natural respiratory spa that actively works to open up your airways the moment you step outside. The medicinal power of this plant lies in its massive concentration of eucalyptol, also known as cineole. Medical research has long recognized eucalyptol as a powerful natural expectorant and bronchodilator. When the silvery blue leaves of the eucalyptus plant rustle in the city wind, they release microscopic droplets of this compound into the air. Inhaling this vapor physically helps to relax the airway muscles, clear out sinus congestion, and provide a deep, cooling sensation in the lungs that makes urban air feel remarkably fresh and breathable. While eucalyptus is typically known as a massive, towering tree, it is actually incredibly adaptable to container gardening if you choose the right variety, such as Eucalyptus cinerea, silver dollar, or Citriodora, lemon eucalyptus. By planting it in a large, heavy 15-gallon pot and aggressively pruning the top, you force it to grow as a dense, bushy shrub. The stunning, silver-toned foliage provides a gorgeous, modern aesthetic that looks perfectly at home on a high-end urban patio. The ultimate luxury of growing potted eucalyptus is the continuous harvest. Whenever you prune your balcony bush to keep its shape, you can tie those freshly cut, intensely aromatic branches in your shower, turning your daily bathroom routine into a world-class, steam-activated aromatherapy session. At number 8 is lavender, the global icon of the aromatherapy world, capable of transforming a stressful, noisy urban balcony into a profound sanctuary of calm. City living is inherently stressful. The constant sirens, traffic noise, and visual clutter keep your nervous system in a constant state of low-level fight or flight. While other herbs on this list invigorate and sanitize, lavender exists to sedate. It produces a dense, heavy, floral aroma that acts as a biological off-switch for human anxiety, forcibly relaxing your mind and body. The scientific community has extensively studied the volatile oils of lavender, specifically linalool and linalool acetate. Neurological research confirms that inhaling these specific compounds significantly lowers heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and physically decreases the amount of cortisol, the stress hormone, flowing through your bloodstream. By placing a large pot of lavender near your outdoor seating area, you are literally changing the chemical makeup of the air to induce tranquility, making it the perfect companion for reading a book or enjoying a glass of wine after a chaotic workday. Successfully cultivating lavender on a balcony requires a strict, tough love approach. It is highly susceptible to root rot, so it must be planted in a container with massive drainage holes and a very sandy, alkaline soil mix. Elevating the pot on a plant stand or hanging it over the balcony railing ensures that the constant airflow keeps the foliage dry while simultaneously blowing that intoxicating, stress-reducing floral vapor directly across your patio. The multitasking benefits of lavender are legendary. Once the breathtaking purple spikes have done their job of visually and aromatically calming your balcony, you can harvest the dried flowers to bake into gourmet lemonades or stuff them into small sachets to guarantee a perfect night of deep, restorative sleep. At number 7, we have chamomile, a delicate, unassuming herb that offers a remarkably sweet, soothing contrast to the harsh, industrial smells of the city. While peppermint and eucalyptus hit your senses with a sharp, icy blast, chamomile takes a much gentler approach. It off-gasses a soft, warm, and incredibly comforting fragrance that smells exactly like freshly picked apples and wild honey. It is the perfect botanical air freshener for urban gardeners who want their balcony to feel soft, inviting, and nostalgic. The therapeutic magic of chamomile is driven by an antioxidant compound called apigenin, along with a complex profile of sweet-smelling floral esters. While it is famous for its calming effects when consumed as a tea, Simply being in the presence of the blooming plant provides a subtle, ambient aromatherapy. The warm, apple-like scent naturally promotes a sense of safety and relaxation, helping to melt away the sharp, jagged tension of urban living and creating a genuinely peaceful microclimate right outside your apartment doors. Chamomile is incredibly well-suited for the spatial constraints of a balcony because it has a shallow root system and a low, creeping or mounding growth habit. It thrives in wide, shallow bowls or standard window boxes. Throughout the early summer, the bright green, feathery foliage erupts with hundreds of tiny, cheerful white flowers that look exactly like miniature daisies, adding a beautiful, whimsical cottage garden aesthetic to an otherwise rigid concrete environment. The true reward of keeping a pot of chamomile is the ultimate nighttime harvest. After enjoying the sweet apple fragrance on your balcony all afternoon, you can pinch off a handful of those tiny daisy flowers, steep them in hot water, and drink the most profoundly relaxing, sleep-inducing herbal tea on the planet. At number 6 is holy basil, universally known as tulsi, a profoundly revered plant that offers a completely unique, spicy, and deeply purifying fragrance. When urban air feels spiritually and physically stagnant, standard sweet basil simply isn't strong enough to cut through the heavy atmosphere. Holy basil is a true botanical powerhouse. It releases a warm, complex, and intensely exotic aroma that combines the sharp bite of cloves with the cooling finish of peppermint, instantly making your balcony feel like a high-end wellness retreat. In Ayurvedic medicine, holy basil is considered the queen of herbs, planted near the entrances of homes specifically to purify the air and protect the household from disease. Modern science has validated this ancient practice, discovering that the plant's essential oils are loaded with eugenol, camphor, and ursolic acid. These highly volatile compounds possess staggering antimicrobial and antiviral properties. As the plant sits in the summer heat, it continuously evaporates these oils, creating an active, sanitized, and deeply aromatic force field around your container garden. Growing holy basil on a balcony is a highly rewarding and visually striking experience. Unlike the smooth, bright green leaves of Italian basil, tulsi often features beautifully serrated leaves tinged with deep purple and produces delicate, highly fragrant pink blossoms. It thrives in standard patio pots with rich, well-draining soil and absolutely loves the intense, baking heat of the midsummer sun, which only forces it to produce even more of its purifying essential oils. Beyond its role as a supreme environmental purifier, holy basil is a world-class adaptogen. You can harvest the spicy, clove-scented leaves daily to brew a powerful medicinal tea that actively helps your body adapt to urban stress, boosts your immune system, and brings total balance to your mind and environment. We have explored herbs that sanitize the air and calm the nervous system. But as we enter our top 5, we are focusing on pure, unadulterated freshness. These are the crisp, clean defenders and the culinary giants that completely rewrite the sensory experience of your balcony. These plants don't just neutralize bad odors, they actively replace them with the bright, uplifting, and mouth-watering scents of a luxury botanical garden. At number 5 is sweet basil, the undisputed king of the Italian culinary garden, which surprisingly doubles as an incredibly effective ambient air freshener. When you live in a concrete jungle, the air rarely smells green. Urban patios often radiate the dry, dusty scent of heated asphalt. Sweet basil completely flips this dynamic, pumping a lush, vibrant, and slightly sweet herbal fragrance into the air that instantly makes a cramped city balcony feel like a sun-drenched Mediterranean villa. The aromatic power of sweet basil comes from a highly complex blend of essential oils, heavily dominated by eugenol and linalool. This specific chemical combination produces a bright, clove-like, and slightly anise-scented vapor. When the intense afternoon sun hits the broad, tender, leaves. These volatile oils rapidly evaporate, creating a thick, localized canopy of fragrance. In the world of aromatherapy, inhaling this sweet, peppery scent is highly prized for its ability to fight mental fatigue and instantly uplift a sluggish, tired mood. For the urban container gardener, basil is an absolute joy to grow. It thrives in standard, well-draining patio pots and absolutely loves intense summer heat. The key to maximizing its aromatic output on a balcony is constant harvesting. By regularly pinching off the top leaves, you prevent the plant from flowering and force it to grow into a dense, bushy, fragrance-producing powerhouse that sits beautifully next to your outdoor seating area. The dual-purpose nature of this plant is legendary. You are cultivating a world-class, mood-boosting environmental fragrance that simultaneously guarantees you are always just seconds away from making the freshest pesto, garnishing a summer pizza, or assembling a flawless caprese salad. At number 4, we have pineapple sage, a breathtaking, architectural herb that offers a massive, tropical escape for the urban senses. Sometimes, you don't want your balcony to smell like a forest or an Italian kitchen. You want it to feel like a high-end island resort. Pineapple sage delivers a staggering olfactory illusion. When the wind brushes past its velvety green leaves, it releases a fragrance that smells exactly, and I mean exactly, like a freshly sliced, incredibly ripe, sweet pineapple. This mind-bending scent profile is generated by a unique combination of botanical esters and volatile compounds that perfectly mimic the chemical signature of tropical fruit. In aromatherapy, sweet, fruity aromas are highly effective at elevating dopamine levels, cutting through the heavy, depressing humidity of a stagnant city summer. Simply sitting next to a pot of pineapple sage and breathing in that sweet, exotic vapor can instantly transport your mind miles away from the noise and stress of the urban grid. To fully experience this tropical giant, you need to provide it with a large, heavy container, at least 10 to 15 gallons. It grows aggressively, forming a massive, bushy shrub that can easily reach 3 to 4 feet tall, making it a spectacular privacy screen for a small patio. In late summer, just as other plants begin to fade, it erupts into hundreds of brilliant, tubular, fiery red flowers that are an absolute magnet for any hummingbirds passing through the city. Beyond its role as a tropical air freshener, the culinary uses are fantastic. You can muddle the sweet, pineapple-scented leaves into iced teas, freeze them into cocktail ice cubes, or toss the edible red flowers into a fruit salad for a stunning, gourmet presentation. At number 3 is spearmint, the softer, sweeter, and more sophisticated cousin to our number 15 pick, peppermint. While peppermint attacks stagnant urban air with a sharp, aggressive, and almost icy blast of menthol, spearmint takes a much more elegant approach. If your balcony feels stuffy and you want to clean the air without feeling like you are sitting inside a medicine cabinet, spearmint provides a gentle, remarkably crisp, and universally loved wave of pure freshness. The defining chemical difference here is carvone. Instead of relying heavily on menthol, spearmint leaves are packed with carvone, an organic compound that delivers a smooth, sweet, and highly refreshing cooling sensation. This scent profile is inherently associated with cleanliness. When the spearmint leaves off gas into the balcony air, the carvone actively neutralizes musty, damp odors rising from the concrete, replacing them with a crisp, clear fragrance that makes the atmosphere feel instantly lighter and easier to breathe. Like all members of the mint family, spearmint is an aggressive spreader that will completely take over a traditional garden bed. This makes your urban balcony container the ultimate, secure environment for it. Planted in a long, shallow window box or a dedicated patio planter, the confined space locks the roots in place, creating a dense, lush carpet of textured green leaves that acts as a highly controlled, high-output fragrance diffuser. The harvest value of spearmint is unparalleled in the summer months. While it quietly keeps your balcony smelling impeccably clean, you have a perpetual, unlimited supply of the absolute best herb for brewing authentic Moroccan mint tea, mixing classic mojitos, or adding a sweet crunch to fresh cucumber salads. At number 2, we introduce lemongrass, the ultimate heavy-duty odor neutralizer. Sometimes, the smells invading your urban balcony are not just slightly stale, they are actively awful. Whether you live directly above a busy restaurant exhaust vent, near a bustling city intersection, or close to a commercial dumpster, delicate floral scents simply won't cut it. You need a botanical powerhouse. Lemongrass stands tall as an aggressive, architectural grass that completely obliterates foul odors with a piercing, incredibly clean citrus strike. The staggering deodorizing power of lemongrass is driven by its massive concentration of citral. In the scientific and commercial cleaning worlds, citral is heavily relied upon for its intense ability to break down and mask deeply offensive odors, as well as its proven antibacterial properties. When you grow this tall grass on your balcony, you are essentially deploying a living, medical-grade air purifier. The sharp lemon-like vapor it releases is so dominant that it effortlessly overrides industrial pollution, leaving the air smelling as crisp as a freshly cleaned luxury hotel lobby. From a design perspective, lemongrass is a vertical masterpiece. It belongs in a deep, heavy pot where it can shoot its elegant, arching green blades up to 4 feet into the air. As the city wind catches the tall grass, it creates a beautiful, whispering rustle, acting as a massive, swaying diffuser that sweeps that purifying citral vapor across your entire seating area. As an incredible bonus, this aggressive air freshener is a highly prized culinary staple. You can continuously harvest the thick, aromatic stalks to infuse authentic, bright citrus flavor into traditional Thai curries, robust soups, and deeply soothing, stomach-settling herbal teas. At number 1, securing the crown as the most interactive, magical, and highly concentrated air freshener in the container gardening world is Corsican mint. At first glance, this plant does not even look like an herb. It looks exactly like a dense, velvety carpet of bright green moss. But hidden within its microscopic leaves is a scent payload so powerful that it completely redefines the experience of watering your balcony garden. It is the ultimate, touch-activated botanical purifier. The biological secret of Corsican mint is its hyper-concentrated cellular structure. The tiny leaves are absolutely bursting with polygon and menthol. While other plants slowly off-gas their scents into the wind, Corsican mint waits for physical interaction. When you simply brush your hand across the top of the pot, or more importantly, when you water it, the water droplets strike the delicate leaves, rupturing the microscopic oil sacs. Instantly, the plant detonates a room-filling, explosive cloud of rich, sweet mint vapor that smells exactly like a high-end crème de menthe liqueur. This unique growth habit makes it the ultimate thriller and filler for urban containers. Because it only grows a fraction of an inch tall, it acts as the perfect living mulch. You can plant it at the base of your taller, shade-loving patio plants, or in a dedicated shallow bowl tucked securely in the cooler, indirect light of your balcony corner. It covers the ugly, bare potting soil with a gorgeous green mat, prevents weeds, and transforms the entire container into an interactive aromatherapy station. While it is rarely used in everyday cooking due to its overwhelming intensity, its value as an environmental purifier is unmatched. Every single time you step onto your balcony to water your plants, you are rewarded with a massive, breathtaking wave of pure, minty freshness that instantly clears your mind, opens your lungs, and completely sanitizes the urban air. That wraps up our list of the 15 container vegetables and herbs that naturally purify your balcony air. Which of these living air filters are you adding to your space first? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening topics you want me to cover next. But don't go anywhere just yet, because our container gardening masterclass is far from over. You now have a highly productive, space-saving, and air-purifying oasis. But let's face the reality of gardening. Maintaining this beautiful space usually means buying new seeds, starting transplants, and completely starting over from scratch every single spring. It is an endless cycle of time, money, and labor. But what if you could completely eliminate that annual chore? What if you only had to plant your garden once and it automatically replanted itself for you year after year? Nature actually has a built-in automation system. Right now, we are shifting our focus from air quality to ultimate sustainability. Let's dive straight into the top 15 self-seeding vegetables that drop their own seeds and naturally return every season, transforming your balcony into a perpetual, never-ending container garden that does the hard work for you. Let's get started. At number 15, we have arugula, the peppery salad green that provides the perfect introduction to self-seeding container gardens. For most American gardeners, arugula is a source of mild frustration because it bolts or goes to seed incredibly quickly the moment the early summer heat hits the patio. Instead of getting angry and ripping the plant out of your pot, this rapid life cycle is exactly what you want to exploit. By allowing just one or two plants to produce their delicate white flowers, you set the stage for an endless, zero-effort harvest. The mechanics of self-seeding arugula in a container are remarkably simple. Once the flowers fade, they form small, slender seed pods. As the pods dry in the late summer sun, they shatter, raining hundreds of tiny seeds directly back into the potting soil below. Because you are growing in a confined container rather than a vast open yard, the seeds remain highly concentrated in one perfectly managed spot, rather than blowing away or getting lost in the lawn grass. The harvest benefits of this natural cycle are spectacular. Arugula seeds possess a brilliant biological clock. They will naturally lie dormant in the container soil during the scorching heat of July and August. The moment the cool, damp weather of September rolls in, the soil temperature drops, triggering massive germination. You will suddenly find your empty backyard pots overflowing with a dense carpet of tender, baby arugula. The most fascinating aspect of self-seeding arugula is its extreme cold tolerance. Any seeds that do not sprout in the autumn will comfortably survive the freezing winter buried in your container soil, automatically waking up to provide your very first spring salad long before you even think about buying seeds. At number 14 is cilantro, an essential culinary herb that practically demands to be grown as a self-seeding container crop. Throughout the United States, gardeners constantly struggle with cilantro because it utterly despises being transplanted and has a notorious habit of bolting into tall, lanky flowers at the first sign of warm weather. When you embrace its desire to reproduce and dedicate a single patio pot entirely to its life cycle, you completely eliminate the stress of trying to keep it alive. You simply let it do what it naturally wants to do. To create a perpetual cilantro pot, choose a deep 10-gallon container and place it in a sunny corner of your deck. When the plant inevitably sends up its lacy white flowers, leave them alone. These flowers will quickly transform into heavy, round green seeds that eventually dry into a brown crust. As the autumn breezes brush across your backyard, the plant will naturally sway, dropping a heavy concentration of seeds straight down into the rich potting mix, perfectly replanting itself for the following year. This self-seeding process offers an incredible culinary double harvest. Before the seeds drop, you can actually harvest them. Those round little spheres are coriander, a warm, citrusy spice essential for curries, marinades, and pickling. By letting the plant go to seed, you get fresh cilantro leaves for your summer salsas and dried coriander spice for your winter pantry, all from the exact same pot. The ultimate reward comes the following spring. Because cilantro seeds possess a hard outer shell, they easily survive harsh winters in outdoor containers. As the spring soil warms, they will germinate in staggered waves, providing you with a thick, continuous canopy of fresh herbs without you ever having to dig a single hole. At number 13, we have dill, the undisputed king of the summer pickling season and a spectacular volunteer plant for any patio or porch. Standard dill can grow surprisingly tall, often reaching 3 to 4 feet, which makes it a striking architectural centerpiece for a large backyard container. While many gardeners meticulously snip off the delicate foliage to keep the plant compact, the true magic of dill is unlocked when you allow it to mature and produce its massive, umbrella-shaped yellow flower heads. Growing self-seeding dill in a container requires a heavy pot to anchor the tall stalks against the wind. When those magnificent yellow umbels finally dry out, they become loaded with flat, lightweight seeds. Because the seeds are easily carried by the wind, they will not only reseed their own container, but will often gracefully drift into neighboring pots on your patio. This creates a charming cottage garden aesthetic where wispy ferns of fresh dill unexpectedly pop up alongside your tomatoes and peppers the following spring. Having dill continuously self-seed in your container garden is a massive culinary advantage. Because dill loses its pungent flavor rapidly after being cut, store-bought dill simply cannot compare to the intense aroma of freshly harvested fronds. Having a perpetual supply sprouting on your deck means you can instantly elevate your potato salads, grilled fish, or homemade cucumber pickles exactly when you need it, at the absolute peak of freshness. Perhaps the most magical biological benefit of letting your dill go to seed is its irresistible pull on wildlife. The giant flower heads are a beacon for the black swallowtail butterfly. By allowing the plant to self-seed, you turn your container garden into a vital, thriving nursery for some of nature's most beautiful pollinators. At number 12 is borage, a breathtaking edible flower that thrives as a self-seeding annual, solving a major problem for container gardeners. In a traditional open-ground garden, borage is so prolific at dropping seeds that it is often considered mildly invasive, aggressively spreading across the yard and crowding out smaller vegetables. However, when you restrict it to a large container on a concrete patio or a wooden deck, you perfectly harness its incredible reproductive energy while completely containing its spread. It becomes a permanent, self-sustaining fixture of your garden without ever becoming a weed. To successfully host borage, dedicate a wide 5-gallon pot to the plant and leave it undisturbed year-round. It will produce fuzzy, robust stems and an absolute explosion of vivid, star-shaped blue flowers. As the flowers mature, they produce heavy, hard black seeds that drop straight down into the soil below. These tough seeds are biologically engineered to survive brutal freezing temperatures, lying in wait beneath the snow to reliably germinate the moment the spring sun warms your patio containers. The harvest from a barrage pot is an absolute delight for home chefs and mixologists. The striking blue flowers are completely edible and possess a remarkably crisp, refreshing flavor that tastes exactly like a fresh cucumber. They are the ultimate high-end garnish, frequently frozen into ice cubes to elevate summer cocktails or tossed fresh into salads to add a pop of vibrant color. The greatest advantage of keeping a perpetual pot of borage in your backyard is its legendary reputation as a companion plant. The continuous blooms act as an incredibly powerful magnet for honeybees and bumblebees, ensuring that every other fruiting vegetable in your container garden is thoroughly and consistently pollinated. At number 11, we have calendula, commonly known as pot marigold, a relentless, frost-hardy flower that will effortlessly sustain itself in your containers for decades. While many patio flowers require constant deadheading, fertilizing, and replanting to maintain their color, calendula prefers a much wilder approach. It is one of the most reliable self-seeders in the botanical world, capable of transforming a single, inexpensive packet of seeds into a lifelong, perpetual harvest of brilliant orange and yellow blooms right on your back porch. Because its root system is relatively shallow, calendula is exceptionally well suited for container constraints. It thrives in standard window boxes, railing planters, or decorative shallow bowls scattered around the deck. The magic happens when the vibrant flowers dry and fall away, revealing incredibly unique, crescent-shaped seeds that look almost like small, curled caterpillars. As the plant gently shakes in the autumn wind, these heavy seeds tumble directly into the planter box, instantly burying themselves in the potting mix to prepare for the following year. Cultivating a self-seeding patch of calendula provides a massive, continuous harvest for the home apothecary. The bright petals are entirely edible, offering a slightly tangy, peppery flavor that brightens up winter soups and summer salads. More importantly, the flowers are packed with powerful medicinal compounds and are highly prized in America for creating soothing, homemade skin salves, healing balms, and botanical teas. What makes calendula an absolute must-have for the perpetual container garden is its staggering resistance to cold weather. The seeds will aggressively germinate in soil temperatures that would kill most other plants. You will often see fresh green calendula seedlings pushing up through the soil of your patio pots in very early spring, long before you have even considered stepping outside to start your gardening season. It's absolutely amazing how much time and money you can save just by letting your container garden manage itself. If you are enjoying these lazy gardening secrets and want to learn more ways to maximize your backyard harvests, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We have plenty more space-saving tips coming your way. Now, let's move back into the countdown with a climbing flower that knows exactly how to survive the winter. At number 10 is the nasturtium, a phenomenally vibrant, sprawling plant that offers one of the most reliable self-seeding cycles for any patio or porch container. Many gardeners buy expensive flats of nasturtiums every single spring to drape over the edges of their backyard pots. But once you realize how effortlessly this plant reproduces, you will never buy it again. Nasturtiums are biologically programmed to leave a heavy, durable deposit of seeds in your container soil, ensuring an even more spectacular floral display the following year without any human intervention. The secret to the nasturtium's perpetual return lies in the sheer size of its seeds. Unlike the microscopic dust produced by many garden flowers, nasturtium seeds are massive, roughly the size of a dried chickpea. When the brilliant trumpet-shaped flowers fade, these heavy wrinkled seeds drop directly straight down into the soil of your planter. Because they are so large and heavy, they easily settle deep into the potting mix, protected by the fading autumn leaves of the mother plant. This thick natural blanket completely insulates them from the freezing winter snow. For the culinary container gardener, having a permanent pot of nasturtiums is like having a gourmet garnish on demand. Both the lily pad-shaped leaves and the striking flowers are entirely edible, delivering a sharp, peppery bite that mimics watercress. Tossing a few fresh nasturtium flowers into a summer salad instantly elevates a basic meal into a restaurant-quality dish right there on your back deck. Beyond its culinary value, the greatest benefit of a self-seeding nasturtium pot is its role as a botanical bodyguard. They are famously used as a trap crop, naturally drawing aphids away from your precious tomatoes and peppers, making them an essential, self-sustaining defender of your container garden. At number 9, we have mustard greens, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the self-seeding leafy vegetables. For gardeners looking to cultivate a massive amount of food in patio containers, mustard greens are often overlooked because they tend to bolt into bright yellow flowers when the intense heat of early summer arrives. However, by allowing these resilient plants to complete their life cycle in a large backyard pot, you are actually setting up an automated, high-yield leafy green factory that will produce 2 distinct harvests every single year. Mustard greens are incredibly prolific seeders. When the yellow flowers transition into long, thin seed pods, they dry rapidly in the sun. A single plant in a 10-gallon container can produce thousands of seeds. When the pods shatter, they cover the surface of the potting soil. This triggers the first automated harvest. As the late summer temperatures begin to cool off, the seeds will germinate instantly, providing a lush, dense carpet of baby mustard greens just in time for your autumn salads. What makes mustard greens truly exceptional is what happens to the seeds that do not sprout in the fall. They are incredibly cold hardy. They will happily lie dormant under a blanket of winter snow, securely frozen in your patio pots. The very moment the spring soil thaws and reaches just 40 degrees, they wake up. You will have a container overflowing with spicy, nutrient-dense greens weeks before you can even safely plant tomatoes. In the kitchen, having a continuous, self-sown supply of mustard greens is a massive culinary asset. The young, tender leaves add a brilliant, horseradish-like kick to fresh salads, while the larger, mature leaves are an absolute staple in Southern American cooking, perfect for slow braising with garlic and smoked meats. At number 8 is loose-leaf lettuce, a staple of the American diet that possesses a surprisingly aggressive and highly effective self-seeding mechanism. Most patio gardeners view lettuce strictly as a short-lived spring crop. The moment the leaves begin to turn bitter and the plant stretches upward to flower, they pull it out and throw it in the compost bin. By breaking this habit and leaving just one single lettuce plant to mature in a corner pot on your deck, you can guarantee a free, endless supply of fresh salad greens year after year. The reproductive strategy of lettuce is completely different from heavy-seeded plants like nasturtiums. When lettuce bolts, it produces tall stalks topped with tiny yellow flowers. These flowers quickly transform into fluffy, white seed heads that look exactly like miniature dandelions. As the wind blows across your porch, these lightweight seeds take flight. They will not only reseed their original container, but will gently drift and settle into the soil of every other pot on your patio. This airborne seeding method creates a beautiful, chaotic, and incredibly productive container garden. The following spring, you will find perfect, crisp little rosettes of lettuce emerging alongside your dormant perennials, at the base of your potted fruit trees, and tucked into the corners of your window boxes. Because loose-leaf varieties do not form tight heads, you can practice a cut-and-come-again harvest, snipping fresh leaves from these volunteer plants all across your backyard. Allowing your lettuce to self-seed also solves the problem of poor germination rates. Store-bought lettuce seeds lose their viability very quickly in the packet. But by letting nature do the work, you are guaranteeing that the freshest, strongest, and most vigorous seeds are planting themselves exactly where they want to grow. At number 7, we have red amaranth, an absolutely spectacular, towering plant that produces a mind-boggling amount of seeds. If you want a plant that makes a bold, dramatic statement in a large patio container while simultaneously providing an endless supply of highly nutritious food, amaranth is unmatched. It is completely unfazed by the brutal heat of the American summer, standing tall and vibrant while delicate greens wither and die. And once you plant it in a pot on your deck, you will quite literally never have to plant it again. The reproductive capability of amaranth is almost terrifying. A single plant, towering above a 15-gallon container, can produce over 100,000 microscopic seeds. The seeds are held tightly within massive, cascading plumes of crimson flowers that look like velvet ropes hanging over your patio. As autumn sets in and the plumes dry, the tiny black seeds rain down by the thousands, heavily saturating the potting soil with enough genetic material to last for years. In terms of food production, self-seeding amaranth is an absolute powerhouse. The young, tender leaves are a brilliant, striking red and can be harvested all summer long. They are traditionally cooked much like spinach, offering a rich, earthy flavor that holds up perfectly in stir-fries, soups, and curries. Because the plant naturally drops so many seeds, your container will become a dense jungle of edible foliage every spring. The greatest advantage of keeping a perpetual pot of red amaranth is its sheer visual impact. It blurs the line between a highly productive vegetable and a breathtaking ornamental centerpiece, transforming a boring corner of your backyard patio into a vibrant, tropical-looking oasis that automatically regenerates itself every single year. At number 6 is auroch, often known as mountain spinach, a stunning and highly practical self-seeding alternative to traditional spinach. For the container gardener, growing standard spinach is often a deeply frustrating experience. It demands perfect, cool weather and bolts the second the sun gets too warm, leaving you with empty pots by June. Auroch completely solves this problem. It is a highly heat-tolerant, vigorous leafy green that thrives in patio containers, producing a massive harvest before gracefully dropping its seeds to secure the next generation. To successfully establish a permanent stand of auroch, plant it in a large, deep container on your porch. Unlike ground-hugging spinach, auroch grows upright, often reaching 4 to 5 feet tall, producing stunning arrow-shaped leaves that come in brilliant shades of deep plum, magenta, and chartreuse. When the plant eventually matures, it produces papery, disc-like seed bracts along its tall stems. As these dry in the late summer wind, they flutter down to the soil, burying themselves perfectly in the potting mix. The culinary value of a self-seeding auroch pot is immense. The leaves taste remarkably similar to standard spinach, but with a slightly saltier, more mineral-rich profile. Because it handles the heat so well, you can continue harvesting the colorful leaves for fresh salads and sautés deep into the summer months, long after your regular spinach has completely died off. The most exciting feature of auroch is how aggressively it volunteers the following spring. Because the seeds are encased in a protective papery shell, they easily survive the harshest winters in a frozen container. When the spring sun hits your patio, your pot will explode with vibrant purple and green seedlings, giving you an effortless, highly ornamental, and delicious harvest year after year. We have covered leafy greens that scatter their seeds in the wind and flowers that drop their heavy shells into the soil. But as we enter the top 5, we are shifting our focus to the heavy hitters. These are the fruiting plants and the absolute survivors that drop entire pods and fruits right onto your patio, creating an unstoppable, zero-effort food forest in your containers. At number 5, we have radishes, a plant that offers one of the best-kept secrets in the container gardening world. Most backyard gardeners view radishes strictly as a quick 30-day root crop. You pull them out of the potting soil, eat the spicy red root, and the plant is gone forever. But if you resist the urge to harvest every single radish in your patio pot and simply let 1 or 2 plants continue to grow, you unlock a completely automated secondary harvest that will magically replant itself. When a radish is left in the soil past its prime, it bolts, sending up tall stalks covered in beautiful, delicate, cross-shaped flowers. As these flowers drop their petals, they produce crisp, green seed pods that look like tiny chili peppers. If you leave these pods on the plant until late summer, they will eventually turn brown, dry out, and shatter. Hundreds of tiny round radish seeds will rain down into the container. Because they drop so late in the season, they perfectly time themselves for a massive, free autumn harvest in that exact same pot. The absolute best part of this self-seeding process is that you get an incredible bonus crop while you wait. Before the green pods dry out, they are entirely edible. These radish pods are a culinary delicacy, offering a phenomenal juicy crunch with the exact same peppery bite as the root itself. You can snack on them right on your back deck, toss them into stir fries, or pickle them for a unique summer treat. By letting your radishes go to seed, you transform a one-time root harvest into a continuous cycle of edible flowers, crunchy seed pods, and an automatically replanted autumn crop, making it a masterpiece of patio efficiency. At number 4 are garlic chives, an incredibly resilient perennial herb that uses self-seeding to transform a sparse patio pot into an impenetrable, lifelong culinary asset. Buying fresh bundles of herbs at the grocery store is wildly expensive, and many traditional container herbs struggle to survive the intense American winter. Garlic chives solve both problems simultaneously. While they do slowly expand their root clumps over time, their true power lies in their aggressive ability to drop seeds, ensuring that your container becomes thicker, denser, and more productive every single year. Dumping the heavy black seeds directly into the base of the mother plant. The culinary value of a dense, permanent pod of garlic chives cannot be overstated. Unlike standard chives, which have a mild onion flavor, these flat leaves deliver a robust, savory garlic punch without the hassle of actually planting and digging up underground garlic bulbs. You simply walk out to your patio with a pair of scissors, snip a handful to top your baked potatoes, dumplings, or morning eggs, and the plant instantly regrows. The most practical benefit of this intense self-seeding behavior is weed control. As the garlic chives continually drop seeds into their own pot year after year, they create a living mat so thick and dense that no competing weed seed could ever find bare soil to germinate. At number 3, we have ground cherries, a uniquely delicious fruiting plant that was biologically engineered by nature to plant itself. Also known as husk cherries, these sprawling plants produce small, golden yellow fruits wrapped in delicate, paper-like lanterns. They are notoriously difficult to cultivate from seeds indoors, requiring heat mats, grow lights, and months of careful attention. However, when grown in a large patio container and allowed to follow their natural life cycle, they become one of the most reliable and abundant volunteer plants you will ever experience. The self-seeding mechanism of the ground cherry is actually tied directly to how you harvest it. You never pick a ground cherry off the branch. You have to wait for the plant to drop the fruit onto the soil, which signals that it is perfectly ripe. Inevitably, in a bushy container on your deck, you will miss a few fallen lanterns hidden under the foliage. As winter sets in, the paper husks rot away and the sweet fruit decays into the potting soil. This natural cold stratification perfectly breaks the seed's dormancy under the winter snow. The harvest from these volunteer plants is an absolute joy. When you peel back the papery husk, you are rewarded with a sweet, complex fruit that tastes like a vibrant mix of pineapple, vanilla, and cherry tomato. They are incredible for snacking fresh right on the patio, baking into summer pies, or boiling down into a rich golden preserve. The greatest advantage of letting ground cherries self-seed is the sheer vigor of the offspring. The seedlings that naturally emerge in your patio pots in late May are mathematically proven to be stronger, stockier, and more heavily adapted to your specific backyard microclimate than any coddled plant grown under artificial lights. At number 2 is the legendary wild cherry tomato, particularly resilient varieties like the Everglades tomato. For most American gardeners, growing tomatoes is a stressful, high-maintenance chore involving indoor seed starting, delicate transplanting, and a constant battle against blight. Wild cherry tomatoes completely reject that narrative. They are rugged, indestructible survivors. By dedicating a single massive container on your backyard patio to a wild cherry tomato, you establish a permanent, self-replicating tomato factory that requires zero indoor seed starting ever again. The self-seeding process of a wild tomato is a masterpiece of natural fermentation. Throughout the blazing summer, the plant produces hundreds of tiny, intensely sweet fruits. Naturally, a few overripe tomatoes will split and fall directly onto the surface of the potting soil. Inside the tomato, each seed is surrounded by a gelatinous sac that prevents it from germinating prematurely. As the fallen tomato rots in the autumn rain, it ferments, dissolving that protective sac. The seeds sink into your container soil, freeze completely solid over the winter, and wake up naturally when the spring weather is absolutely perfect. The culinary reward is staggering. These wild volunteer plants produce an overwhelming abundance of bite-sized, incredibly sweet tomatoes that are highly resistant to the cracking and blossom drop that plagues modern hybrids. You will find yourself constantly picking them by the handful every time you step out onto your back porch. The most mind-blowing fact about self-seeded patio tomatoes is their speed. While you might panic because your volunteer seedlings pop up in May, weeks after the garden centers start selling large plants, these deeply rooted, naturally hardened survivors grow at a terrifying pace. They will almost always catch up to and eventually outproduce the expensive nursery transplants by midsummer. At number 1, taking the crown as the ultimate self-seeding container plant is the highly controversial golden purslane. Let's address the elephant in the room. For decades, Americans have spent millions of dollars on toxic herbicides trying to eradicate wild purslane from their driveway cracks and lawn borders, cursing it as an aggressive, noxious weed. But this hatred is a massive misunderstanding of a botanical miracle. By choosing the cultivated, large-leafed golden variety and deliberately isolating it in a patio container, you trap its incredible survival skills and transform a despised weed into a premium, zero-effort superfood. The reason purslane is so notoriously hard to kill in the wild is exactly why it makes the perfect perpetual container crop. It is virtually indestructible. A single plant can produce a staggering 240,000 microscopic seeds. As the tiny yellow flowers close, they drop this invisible dust directly into your patio pot. The seeds can survive baking 100-degree droughts, sub-zero freezes, and can remain viable in the soil for up to 40 years. Once you plant a pot of purslane on your deck, you are guaranteeing a lush green harvest for the rest of your life. The harvest value of this succulent plant is unmatched. The thick, juicy leaves have a bright, citrusy, and slightly salty crunch that is phenomenal in fresh salads or blended into summer smoothies. More importantly, it is an absolute nutritional powerhouse. Purslane contains more omega-3 fatty acids than any other leafy green plant on planet Earth, making it a literal, living vitamin pill growing right outside your back door. By embracing purslane in a controlled container, you completely prevent it from invading your lawn while simultaneously securing the most resilient, nutrient-dense, and aggressively self-seeding vegetable in the world. Stop fighting nature and start eating it. Creating a perpetual self-seeding container garden is the ultimate hack for the smart, space-conscious gardener. By simply stepping out of the way and letting these 15 incredible plants drop their seeds directly into your patio pots, you completely eliminate the stress of indoor seed starting, save a fortune on spring supplies, and guarantee a lush, free harvest year after year. One quick pro tip for extreme winter climates. Because potting soil freezes much harder than ground soil, simply push your self-seeded containers up against the exterior wall of your house in late autumn. That slight thermal mass is all the protection those sleeping seeds need to safely make it to spring. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you brave enough to dedicate a patio pot to our #1 pick, purslane, or do you still consider it an absolute weed? Let me know your thoughts and share your favorite self-seeding vegetables down in the comments below. If you learned something new today and want to keep maximizing your backyard harvests, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, let nature do the planting, and happy gardening.